What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It's your boy Adam Perez back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming for you guys live over on YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitch for you gamers. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us here today. A little bit of a rough start to this Sunday, to be perfectly honest with you. You would think Hero Report should be known for Sundays at 12 o'clock noon or 11 a.m. Central Time, but apparently not. We tend to sometimes have some hiccups when it comes to scheduling conflicts, and today was certainly one of those. So hopefully going forward, we could definitely remember that, 12 o'clock every Sunday. We should know this by now, but unfortunately, definitely have to mess around with schedules from time to time. But we're here, or at least I'm here. Sorry, I had something in my freaking beard today. But I'm certainly here. It is just Adam today, solo dolo. Unfortunately, Stuart and Indy are not going to be able to join us, so it is just myself going through a couple of these topics for you guys today. We got 6 topics we're going to be breaking down. A couple of honorable mentions to go ahead and kick off the show, and then to end off the show, we'll definitely get into your guys' live viewer questions. I am a little bit low energy today, just because the way that this day started was just not the greatest, guys. I do my best to try and be as on time for you guys as I possibly can. I understand the importance of when I say I'm going to be doing something at a certain time, I got to come through for you guys. So a little bit irritated this morning, but certainly doing my best to push through it, guys. But so for those of you who have joined us in the live chat and are certainly here today, thank you very much for certainly showing up. We got Enrique Perez in the house today, followed by good old Blossom. Doomsday is certainly joining us, along with Ram Jam, and of course, Dino Knights Fight for Your Rights. What's up, AJ? Certainly good to see you in here today, man. So it's just going to be myself today, guys. So I certainly hope you don't mind. We have some great topics to certainly break down for you guys. I was hoping to start on time today so that I could watch some of these football games, but I might end up at least missing the afternoon game. I think the 49ers and Eagles are currently playing right now. So we'll see how that matchup goes. I put all my predictions over on my Facebook page if you guys are certainly interested in checking it out. What's up, Marcelino? Certainly good to see you in here. He says we got our first footage for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have to check that out then. I didn't know that they dropped that today. I've been hearing big things about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, so we'll see how it looks. I'll definitely go ahead and check it out later. So thank you for the heads up, Marcelino. So guys, let's go ahead and just dive into this show, man. We ain't got too much to talk about, nothing to catch up on when it comes to Indy or Stewart. So let's get into our honorable mentions. I got to remember what some of my honorable mentions are. Oh, here we go. Here's one of them. We got Harley Quinn, the animated series currently on HBO Max. I thought it was pretty interesting that this week they actually revealed to us that they're having a Valentine's Day holiday special. Apparently, holiday specials are now the thing once again. After the very successful Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that we wind up having, even the Werewolf by Night Halloween special, 2 incredible back-to-back specials from Marvel. DC and Harley Quinn said, "Hold my beer." And they got themselves a Valentine's Day special that's set to go ahead and hit HBO Max as well. They not only dropped the poster for it, but they also dropped a very interesting and raunchy trailer as well. Only as raunchy as Harley Quinn can certainly get. Pretty interesting stuff to say the least. It's there's a part of me that wants to say I am going to go ahead and watch this, but considering the fact that I really have not even dabbled into the Harley Quinn animated series, I'm probably gonna pass on this, but I probably, if anything, will certainly enjoy seeing people's reactions, reviews. If it's something that Indy or maybe even Stuart will check out, maybe I'll have them do a review for you guys. But the trailer itself, if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the trailer, please do yourselves a favor and find it on YouTube over on our main Facebook page. We definitely posted up there. It's a great trailer, to say the least. Definitely had me laughing. It looks like it's going to be pretty fun. But man, they are definitely pushing the envelope if you will, when it comes to this Valentine's Day special. There's probably a reason why they call it Harley Quinn a very problematic Valentine's Day special, to say the least. But if you guys have had the opportunity to check it out, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts on the trailer for the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special. It does make me wonder if DC is working on any other holiday specials for the remainder of the year or not. We got Indy in the house. What's up, Indy? Good to certainly see you, man. What's our other honorable mention today? I should have pulled up a graphic for this, but The Last of Us. We've had The Last of Us currently airing over on HBO every Sunday. We've got 2 episodes already in the books, and the third one's going to be dropping later on tonight. But earlier this week, we wind up getting an announcement that for The Last of Us has in fact been renewed for its 2nd season. That's right, its 2nd season. We're literally only 2 episodes in, but with the reception that this particular series has gotten so far over the past 2 weeks, this probably should honestly come as no surprise to anybody. And I think HBO pretty much already knew what they had on their hands before they even revealed it to the public. So it does not surprise me that once you start getting the great reception for The Last of Us from its viewers, critics, and audience members, pulling the trigger on season 2 is definitely no shocker there. The Last of Us season 2 will be going into development, and we certainly will be getting more of that series. I've been really enjoyed both episodes, honestly. I really have, considering I am somebody that has not watched or not played the video game. Over on Twitter, I do see all the time the comparisons between like the live action scenes that we've seen from the series compared to like moments from the video game. I think it's pretty cool and very thoughtful of the creative team of this series to be mindful of certain video game moments and depict them in live action form. Clearly, this series is not scene for scene out of the game, but the idea that they throw in these Easter eggs and these great moments for the fans, I think really does go a long way, to say the least. So I think they're doing everything right, honestly. And I think, but I've had the most confidence in this series since they announced who was going to be the showrunner and actually putting this together. I mean, considering I was a huge fan of the Chernobyl series, it was just excellence to me, if you ask me. The fact that they brought him on to go ahead, it was Craig Mazin to go ahead and do this show, and teaming him up with Neil Druckmann, who was actually the creator of the Last of Us. I just felt it was just like combining 2 geniuses together, and I just was really looking forward to what they were going to be able to do with this series. And they definitely have not disappointed whatsoever. Everybody's doing a magnificent job. So yeah, Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special, along with The Last of Us season 2 being being renewed for a season 2. And then last but not least, guys, it's January, and we are still anxiously awaiting James Gunn's DCU slate. I do believe he's clearly already met with David Zaslav maybe a couple of weeks ago. They did mention the idea, or he has mentioned the idea back in December, that we would know at least a portion of his DCU slate by the end of January. And we're getting there. We literally have 2 more days of January, Monday and Tuesday. If I had to guess, I would assume tomorrow would certainly be the day. Again, that's just my own speculation. I've not heard or read anything, but I would assume, for us to avoid the case of the Mondays, I would hope that James Gunn and Warner Brothers Discovery would certainly come through for us and give us some update in regards to where the DCU is certainly headed. So who knows how many movies are going to be revealed? He's been planning, him and James Gunn and Peter Safran have been planning 10 years worth of content for the DCU. So I am curious if we're going to get 1 year worth of content shown, 2 years worth of content shown, a full phase 1, if you will. Who certainly knows how they're going to navigate that type of storytelling. But I am kind of curious to see what we're going to get. So I am still very much under the belief that if not Monday, definitely Tuesday. I still think if James Gunn says something, I feel like he's a man of his word, and he'll be revealing it to us. Certainly hoping that there's definitely no hiccups behind the scene, but I definitely do think either Monday or Tuesday, we certainly will hear something from James Gunn. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it is, in fact, tomorrow. But whatever James Gunn certainly discusses, I definitely will be making a video for you guys and certainly talking about it later on that day or evening for you guys. So definitely something to look forward to. And for me, when it comes to this, like I am fascinated to see what his rollout is definitely going to look like. My biggest concern and worry, if anything, when it comes to James Gunn's slate, is I hope it's just not the same generic pattern that we've seen before when it comes to the DCEU, right? Like I hope it's not just another Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Justice League movie. Like I hope, like I get the idea and the importance of the big three and wanting to make another Justice League movie or another big team up movie. I just hope that we throw some movies in there and some characters in there that we have not expected to certainly see get the spotlight and the shine to go ahead and start off the beginning of a DCU, right? Look, there's certainly a lot of unanswered questions that we certainly have to go through, like how is the Flash movie certainly going to affect things? We still got Blue Beetle's movie coming out afterwards, along with Aquaman as well. And then we'll be getting the James Gunn stuff here shortly after that. So I hope it's just not a regurgitation of, hey, we're going to give you the big three in brand new movies and a Justice League movie sort of thing. If I had to sort of put out my own personal slate, like if I had to think of like 5 movies that I would like to start off with when it comes to the DCU, I feel like you have to start off with Superman, but you probably clearly don't have to start off with Superman. But considering that James Gunn has been open about the idea that he's writing a Superman script, dealing with a much younger Superman in his career who is working currently at the Daily Planet, you got to think that a Superman movie is certainly on the docket. There's a part of me that certainly would like to see another Wonder Woman movie kind of put out there also. And I don't necessarily even want to go the route of Diana. I do want to go ahead and put in some fresh blood in there, and I probably would go with Yara Flora, the current Wonder Girl, who has a current Wonder Girl series over there, over in DC Comics. So I wouldn't mind maybe a different Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl, if you want to call her that, kind of taking the mantle going forward. I mean, if you still want to bring Gal Gadot in as Wonder Woman, as a cameo or as like a mentor in the new Wonder Woman films, maybe that's a route that they certainly go in order to keep Gal Gadot certainly around. So maybe something along those lines: a Superman, a Wonder Woman, but a different Wonder Woman character. And I personally still would open up the idea to a Justice League, Justice Society of America. The JSA definitely got teased when it comes to Black Adam, regardless of how you felt about the movie. I don't think the JSA was a weak point to that film whatsoever. And I would love the opportunity to see some of those other characters that were not in Black Adam get the opportunity to shine. Heck, I'll take the guy that played Hawkman back. I thought he did an excellent job. Whether or not you want to bring back Pierce Brosnan to go ahead and play Dr. Fate, you can include an older or a different Black Canary if you want to, who would be the mother of maybe the Birds of Prey Black Canary that we saw, played by was it Journey Smollett? So I do think there's really great opportunities in here. Heck, if you want to make a Martian Manhunter movie, I was just thinking of like maybe since they already got the Ant-Man for the MCU, maybe we get ourselves an Atom film. That would be pretty interesting also. So I just think that there are definitely a ton of other characters out there that should certainly get some shine. Maybe they finally pull the trigger on the Green Lantern film before even giving us a Batman. The only reason why I have not even thrown out the Batman as a solo film is simply because of the fact that we already have a Batman in Robert Pattinson's The Batman over in the Matt Reeves universe that he's kind of playing around with. It'd be interesting to see how early and how they certainly would like to introduce a new Batman in this universe. But, listen, I would be interested to know what you guys think if you had to come up with a slate of 5 DCU films to start off this rebooted universe. what films or characters would you certainly put in the spotlight to be in their own movie or be in a big group movie? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. So we'll see what Monday holds for us, guys. If James Gunn certainly does deliver on his slate of DC films, but I'm really excited for it, guys. And I am not on board with all this James Gunn hate train that seems to be picking up steam. It feels like I feel like anytime there's a cancellation, somebody is getting on his case, or just the mere thought of some of their favorite characters or shows certainly not coming back. It's all of a sudden like James Gunn is the one to blame for all this, which is just complete nonsense to say the least. But definitely give this man his opportunity. I think he's proven himself in other areas when it comes to comic book movies and genres and things like that. We've loved his stuff before. No reason to start hating on the man now all of a sudden just because he's taken over DC. So we'll see what the slate looks like, and hopefully have an idea as to what to expect from some of these films. But again, we'll certainly keep you posted here at A Plus Hero Report. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. We'll definitely keep you up to date on all the news that happens. So that will round up all of our honorable mentions for you guys today. We got Datilla in the house with us. What's up, Datilla? I think I saw Ram Jam up here already. Marcelino says, Adam, you're missing out on Harley Quinn. I'm sure I am, man. I'm sure I am. There's just so much content out there right now to kind of digest. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally just now watching Wednesday, and that dropped like 2 months ago. It feels like. So I'm just now getting through Wednesday after finishing Cobra Kai like two or 3 weeks ago. Also, so definitely playing some catch up. There's just so much TV going on right now, and like it's just the idea that like that's just television, right? Like that's just TV that I got to catch up on. That's not even including some of the great movies that are certainly on streaming services that I want to go ahead and check out, or even go to the movies to certainly see. So there's just a lot of content to be able to watch everything. You know what I mean? Ram Jam says, I still haven't seen The Last of Us yet. Ram Jam, listen, if you've got HBO Max, man, do yourself a favor. Sunday nights, check it out. If you can't Sunday nights, anytime on Monday, do yourself a favor, man. I do think that you'll be a big fan of The Last of Us. And speaking of video games being adapted into live action, let's go ahead and actually dive into our very first article for you guys today. As we talked about this, the idea of the rights for the Tomb Raider franchise being up for bidding. Back in August of last year, we went over a report with you guys that I believe was MGM, or I can't remember who the company was, wind up losing the rights for the Tomb Raider series. They had plans on doing an Alicia Vikander sequel. I think they even brought in a director as well to go ahead and certainly get started. Misha Green, I believe her name was. Don't quote me on that. I do apologize. So we thought we were going to be getting ourselves a Tomb Raider sequel for Alicia Vikander, and then all of a sudden, the rights for this was certainly lost, and they became up for purchase. And we had talked about this back in August, that a bunch of different production companies were in the bidding to go ahead and acquire Tomb Raider. And I figured this was going to be a pretty big opportunity for whoever captures this particular franchise. There's certainly so much you can certainly do with it. And today, ladies and gentlemen, or this week, we finally have our answer, as it seems as though Tomb Raider has officially been purchased by none other than Amazon. That's right. Amazon's just getting their hands on everything. If it's not Lord of the Rings, they just went ahead and I think talked about doing a God of War series also. So they're really trying to grab as much IP as they certainly can, and it seems as though their next stop for them is in fact going to be Tomb Raider. So let's go ahead and pull this article up for you guys as we'll talk about that today. It says the Tomb Raider film in the works as Amazon makes a rich rights deal for a Marvel-like franchise. They clearly have big plans for the Tomb Raider franchise, to say the least. It says Amazon is building a Tomb Raider franchise. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that the retail giant and streamer has teamed with Dimitri Johnson's DJ2 Entertainment for massive rights deal to make up a Tomb Raider feature film in addition to the newly announced TV series and at least one video game in the Lara Croft franchise. Usually one video game will lead to another video game, and then before you know it, we'll have a trilogy on our hands. But it says here the idea is to build out a connected world of Tomb Raider with the video game, TV series, and film all interconnected in a fashion akin to what Marvel has already accomplished. The Tomb Raider video game was announced in December, with additional games in the franchise considered likely. One source with knowledge of the pact described it as being among the largest commitments at Amazon after Lord of the Rings. By comparison, Amazon is estimated to have spent $250 million on rights alone to Lord of the Rings, with that deal covering a multi-season show, The Rings of Power, which we review here, as well as spin-offs. So yeah, they definitely have big plans. It says the Johnson's DJ Entertainment put together the deal also for the Tomb Raider anime series at Netflix, which included a 2-season order. The company has spent the last year working out rights to the property. So yeah, big things are certainly coming. And I kind of dig it. Look, we've kind of talked about the idea before here. Once we knew that there was going to be a bidding war for Tomb Raider, the notion of who's going to be the next Tomb Raider started creeping into people's ears and their thoughts. And I do remember us talking a little bit about the idea of, I think it was in a interview, Aubrey Plaza, who was promoting her movie Emily the Criminal, talked about the idea that she would really love the idea to be the next Lara Croft or Tomb Raider. I don't really recall seeing too much of Aubrey Plaza in sort of action films, but again, I'm sure there's a lot of filmography and movies that she's done, and I definitely have not checked out yet. But the idea of Aubrey Plaza becoming sort of an action hero, I think would be pretty cool if you ask me. And I think this opens up a fantastic opportunity for any great female actors out there to go ahead and become a superhero of their own. Good old Lara Croft with that brilliant mind of hers, the archaeologist that she certainly is, and the badass. I definitely would like to see another Tomb Raider film at some point in time. Be quite successful. You know, I love the Angelina Jolie one originally. The Alicia Vikander one was pretty good. It was okay for me, one that I certainly enjoyed. I definitely wanted to see more of it, as it definitely felt very much more like the rebooted Tomb Raider series for the video game system, if you will. I do think that the current 2018 Tomb Raider film felt very much like that. And I would love this movie, whatever upcoming movie they have, to certainly feel the same, or at least take some much bigger risks. To me, this almost kind of puts Tomb Raider in a much better situation than, say, that of the Uncharted series, right? Where we had, was it Mark Wahlberg along with Tom Holland just recently come out in Sony. Not a bad film. It actually kind of surprised me. But I feel almost like the idea of Amazon tackling this and making Tomb Raider such a big Marvel-like franchise that they have in mind, I do think that this could become even bigger than, say, an Uncharted movie franchise. So big things are certainly happening here, guys. I am kind of curious to know what you guys think, not only of the current status of Tomb Raider, but how do you feel it's going to do in the hands of Amazon? I feel like just watching the Lord of the Rings series, they put great detail and great heart behind putting that together, really going to as close to the source material as you certainly could. And I'm sure, listen, you're not going to certainly make everybody happy when it comes to adapting something as beloved as Lord of the Rings into its own television series. But the dedication, I think, that Amazon puts towards it, $250 million for that franchise and those rights. I'm surprised that this article didn't even reveal how much they spent for the Tomb Raider franchise. But if it's like the second most, right behind Lord of the Rings, I'm certainly sure that they paid a pretty penny. And maybe Amazon becomes sort of the the next home for video game adaptions, as they are also working on a God of War television series as well. They put out great content, if you ask me. I think when it comes to series to look out for, Netflix does a great job. HBO Max does a really great job, and I think Amazon does also, with really picking their IP that they know that they can certainly knock out of the park. And I think this is certainly one of them. Like I kind of dig the idea of interconnected universes, and I think this kind of goes back to my love of like Star Wars, canon timelines, and seeing how everything is certainly connected, or over long periods of time, and to see what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing fantastically well over the past decade. It has become sort of that next big thing in regards to entertainment. The Witcher, I think, is doing a fantastic job for that over on Netflix, also giving us a season, giving us a spin-off animated film, then giving us another season, and then giving us a limited spin-off series. And now we're going to get season 3 of The Witcher also. And they're all connected in some way or another, for one big, gigantic, beautiful storyline that's certainly being told. And I think the same could definitely be done here for a Tomb Raider series. Maybe kicking us off with the film, maybe having that same actress be involved in actually being in the series herself. Heck, whoever the actress is, maybe have them do some of the voice work for Laura Croft in the video game as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it's all connected. Like, will the movie actually lead us into a season 1, or will it lead us into the video game? Do I have to play the video game in order to then watch, say, season 1 of the series, or is this going to be like a different time period in Laura's life? I have no idea, but I certainly find it fun, to certainly say the least. And I think Laura Croft definitely, certainly deserves to have a franchise in her name, considering how long Tomb Raider has definitely been around and been represented by some incredible female performers like Angelina Jolie and Alicia Vikander. So I'm glad to see that there is still room out there for a Tomb Raider, and hopefully great content from her definitely headed our way, guys. So I'm really pumped to kind of see what they do with the Tomb Raider franchise as a whole. But considering the fact that they had just announced a massive interconnected franchise for Tomb Raider, again, we said movies, video games, and a TV series to go along with the news for the television series as well. We do have some information on that front for you guys, as Phoebe Waller-Bridge, you can eventually see her in the upcoming Indiana Jones 5 movie. I think she's in the series Fleabag as well. She continues to get a massive bump here and push, as Phoebe Waller-Bridge is prepping a Tomb Raider TV series for Amazon. That's right. It says sources say the Fleabag Emmy winner will pen the script for the project, which is the latest to stem from her recently renewed overall deal with the streamer. So they apparently have gotten her already in a big, massive deal with Amazon, maybe like first look deal sort of thing. So if they have projects that come across their way, she has an opportunity to see if it's something she certainly would like to tackle and create and work on. And she has attached herself now to the Tomb Raider series as the writer. I do believe that this article does confirm that she's not going to be the actress to play Tomb Raider, but she will in fact be penning the script. So let's go ahead and dive into this a little bit. It says Phoebe Waller-Jones is getting into action at Amazon. The Emmy-winning Fleabag grad is readying a TV series based on the popular video game turned action movie Tomb Raider. The project, which is in development stages, is the latest to stem from Waller-Bridge's recently renewed overall deal. It says sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Waller-Bridge is attached to write the scripts for Tomb Raider. Waller-Bridge does not plan to star in the TV adaptation of the property, which spawned a 2001 and 18 film adaptation starring Angelina Jolie and Alicia Vikander, respectively. I am, seeing the dates of those two films, it blew my mind that they were 17 years
apart now that I see that in writing. I had no idea that how far apart they certainly were. Talk about making me feel old. In addition to writing, Waller Bridge will executive produce the Amazon take alongside former head of comedy and drama Ryan Andolina and former head of overall deals. So she definitely seems to have a team behind her as well. So yeah, honestly, I didn't even know that Phoebe Waller-Jones, or Phoebe Waller-Bridge was even a writer, honestly. I knew of her as an actor, but they even talk about her as an actress, writer, producer. So she can clearly do it all. So it does make me wonder. I might have to look back and see exactly what Phoebe Waller-Bridge has actually written in her during her time and what she's most notably certainly known for. I haven't seen too much of her, but what I have seen of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I tend to enjoy. I kind of like her humor. I love her timing, especially. And I'll be interested to see how she works opposite of Harrison Ford in the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny later on this summer. But she seems like a hot commodity right now. Got to strike while the iron's hot, while your popularity and your name recognition is certainly out there. And so 2023 sounds like it might be a great year for Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and a lot more certainly to come. So again, she will not be Laura Croft, but she will in fact be writing the TV series for the Tomb Raider Amazon streaming service. And if anything, I guess the idea also that they have found a writer for the TV series before they've even announced anything film related does make me curious as to what could potentially come first, right? Is the movie going to come first? Is the television series going to come first? Is this going to be a straight to streaming sort of film, or a case of, hey, we'll drop season one on Amazon and then maybe release the film itself in theaters? I really have no idea. For all I know, maybe they give us 2 or 3 seasons of the television series before actually giving us a film. It's kind of something that I kind of want Mandalorian to do for Disney Plus and for Lucasfilm. I kind of think the idea that we've gotten 3 seasons so far, and I think maybe after a 4th or 5th season, I think you could literally pull the trigger on a Mandalorian movie if you wanted to. I think the series is so incredibly popular that people certainly would go out to the movies to maybe see like the finale of this series kind of wrap itself up, maybe movie wise. Again, that doesn't necessarily have to be the ingredient, or the recipe for the Tomb Raider franchise going forward. But again, the idea that you have that flexibility to write a television series interconnected with the video game or a film, I think could be a really fun experiment for them to deal with when it comes to Tomb Raider. So I'm really eager for this. Again, I like Phoebe's personality. I like her comedy chops. I'm not too familiar with her writing skills in general, so I might have to go down the rabbit hole and see what she has written and certainly check it out for myself. But I do think that I think this will be some good things for Tomb Raider going forward. And again, makes me question as to what will come first. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to this. So big chunk of news for Tomb Raider here this week. If you ask me, I think some of the biggest news that we've had here to see that the Tomb Raider franchise is very much alive and just waiting for the opportunity for somebody to strike and see its full potential here. And I think Amazon is definitely going to do that, guys. So again, let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below about what you think about Amazon purchasing the Tomb Raider rights. So yeah, guys, let's see here. What are you guys saying in regards to it? Let's see. Blossom says, Tomb Raider as a movie, holy macaroni, they haven't done one since I was a kid. Well, listen, 2018, they did one with Alicia Vikander. So I know you weren't a kid then. It probably just maybe flew under the radar and you certainly missed it. But if all you remember is Angelina Jolie from back in 2001, I would definitely recommend 2018's Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander, and let me know what you think about that once you get the opportunity to check it out. Let's see here. What else we got? Marcelino. He says, I don't know if Tomb Raider could work as an interconnected universe because in every video game, Lara Croft is the main character and the people play the game as Lara Croft. No one really plays a Tomb Raider game hoping to play as someone else than Lara Croft. So Amazon Prime is going to create some original characters for it to work as an interconnected universe. Besides, they want to overwork the actress playing Tomb Raider unless the movie focused on Lara Croft as an adult, while the show is a prequel with a different actress. And that certainly could be the case. Even though Lara Croft is the main character, we don't know the time periods in which the other video games or television series or movie will certainly be set, right? This could be a case of we've got ourselves, I don't want to say an older Lara Croft, but one maybe middle age. She can clearly still do the things that she needs to do, but maybe the television series or the movie, maybe the other thing focuses on, I think of like maybe young Indiana Jones Chronicles sort of thing, right? Maybe like a younger version of Lara Croft, as you were kind of mentioning. Maybe not that young of young Indiana, but I do think that there's certainly potential there. And look, if anything, there is an importance, I think, when it comes to movies and television series to make great supporting characters, characters that people will get attached to, that people will certainly love. Whether or not that means that those characters should then get like a spin-off or a video game or a television series of their own, who certainly knows. But I am leaving it up to the writers to understand that Lara Croft shouldn't be the only one to carry the load of the series, that you should certainly have some great sidekicks and some great side characters to really help bolster your roster and, just for somebody for Lara Croft to certainly work off of. So I do think that there is a possibility of certainly making this work. There are countless adventures that Lara Croft could certainly go on. I do think you've got things like Indiana Jones to look at. I do think you've got things like National Treasure that I think you could certainly look at also in regards to making an interconnected universe, or at least things that you can play with if you want to, if you need ideas for film and television and video games. So, I'm not going to just say right off the bat, especially when I don't know fully their plans, that you can't do that with a Tomb Raider character, because I certainly think that there's definitely a possibility that they can easily pull that off if they want to. So we'll see how it goes, though, guys. But let me know your thoughts on the Tomb Raider franchise news, guys. And look, I still got 2 Tomb Raider video games I have yet to get to. This past Christmas, I literally asked for a brand new Xbox One controller, and I got my controller. And I remember I was so stoked. I was like, yes, finally, I can get to these last 2 Tomb Raider video games on my Xbox One. And I go to turn on my Xbox and it doesn't even turn on anymore. So I don't know if it's just acquired so much dust that the things don't even play. Everything's plugged in perfectly well. I think I might have missed my opportunity to finish off these games, guys. But I'll keep you posted on whether or not my Xbox is fully deceased or not. But with that topic out of the way, we will, in fact, move on to our next one, and that's going to be in the realm of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, look, guys, I know a lot of people out there may be not super impressed with Phase 4 of Marvel. I think it's a really hard position and a place for the MCU to definitely be in. I mean, after you've literally had 8 years, almost 10 years of a huge climactic payoff in Endgame, there is a big question mark of like, where do you go from here, right? But when you close a chapter of a book, you got to open up another book and sort of kind of start over, introducing us to new characters and stuff. And while I will say, I will agree with some fans that some of the stuff that we've gotten recently can be kind of mediocre in terms of what we've seen from the MCU in the past, there are certain things that I definitely enjoyed and really enjoyed from Phase 4, despite some of the things that I didn't. But I do think one of the things that they've done extremely well when it comes to Phase 4 is build out new characters. I honestly think that characters like a Moon Knight, regardless of what you thought about the series itself, I thought the She-Hulk character really shined. Regardless how some people might have felt about the Miss Marvel series, I think her character certainly shined in regards to giving us new characters to enjoy. U.S. Agent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Yelena finally getting the opportunity to really shine from Black Widow, even though some people weren't really happy with Black Widow. So again, I think some really strong characters. Kate Bishop, regardless of how you feel about the Hawkeye series, right? There are great characters that are certainly being forged and created here, even though some of us may not have been the biggest fans of their origin story. But that's the buildup that we have, at least. That's the introductory here. Now that we're about to get to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Phase 5 is about to go ahead and kick off, and I do feel like this is going to be a huge momentum shift for the MCU, certainly going forward. And despite the idea that when it comes to Phase 4 being kind of lackluster, there are people out there that are wondering, because it's been sort of lackluster for some people, is this now superhero movie fatigue, or just superhero fatigue starting to certainly set in? And I thought it was actually pretty interesting to hear that this week Variety had the opportunity to sit down with Kevin Feige to discuss that very question. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see exactly what it is that Kevin Feige feels when it comes to the idea of audiences being tired of superhero movies. And Kevin Feige just says he doesn't think it's going to happen. He don't think people are ever going to get tired of superhero movies. So let's hear exactly what Kevin Feige had to say and just his mindset in regards to answering this. He says, look, I've been at Marvel Studios for 22 years, over 22 years. And most of us here at Marvel Studios have been around a decade or longer together. Um, he says, from probably my second year at Marvel, people were asking, well, how long is this going to last? Is this fad of comic book movies going to end? So in his second year of Marvel, he's got people asking him these questions, right? And Kevin Feige can continue. He says, I didn't really understand the question, because to me, it was akin to saying after Gone with the Wind, well, how many more movies can be made off of novels? Do you think the audience will sour on movies being adapted from books? You would never ask that, because there's an inherent understanding among most people that a book can be anything. A novel can have any type of story whatsoever. So it all depends on what story you're translating. Non-comic book readers don't understand that it's the same thing in comics. He says there's 80 years of the most interesting, emotional, groundbreaking stories that have been told in the Marvel comics, and it is our great privilege to be able to take what we have and adapt them. Another way to do that is adapting them into different genres and what types of movies we want to make. And he concludes, I found that if we tell the story right and we adapt them in a way that the audience still, knock on wood so far, is allowing us along 22 plus years later, you can make any type of movies that share two things: the Marvel logo above the title and a seed of an idea from our publishing history. And, listen, I think he makes an incredible point here, an absolutely incredible point. I think what separates superhero movies is the same thing that separates um novels and books. Books get adapted every single year, but nobody's out there saying, when are we going to stop adapting these books? When are we going to stop adapting novels, right? It's almost understood that the idea of adapting books to the big screen is a thing that we do, right? If you have an idea, if if a book has a genre, you can adapt it and tell it in that particular genre if you want to. Nobody questions the idea of books being adapted into films every single year. It's the same thing when it comes to superhero movies, right? And I think he goes on to point out the idea that it is important to understand, you know, can people be disappointed in a comic book movie? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not every comic book movie is going to be sensational. Does that mean that people are going to tire of them? I don't think so. Because I do think at the end of the day, as long as you've got a great idea and a story that certainly needs to be told, and you can tell it in the way that it certainly needs to be told in a specific genre, switching things up if you want to. I think there's always going to be fresh ideas and things that you can certainly do and take away from comic books. Again, 80 years worth of comic book stories to certainly still be adapted into movies, television, whatever the case may be. So, no, I don't think people are going to get tired of comic book movies whatsoever. And I do think that Kevin Feige does a really great job of explaining the difference, right? Comic book movies have been around for 22 plus years, according to him. He's been working on this thing forever, and people have yet to get tired of them. When you still have movies to this day making $2 billion worldwide, again, that's the idea that I don't think superhero movie fatigue is certainly going anywhere. Because at the end of the day, what moves the box office, what puts people in seats, is great storytelling and great characters. And if you can do that, people will continue to come out and see these movies. Now, if you're just making trash for 10 years and people can tell all of a sudden that you're not putting your best foot forward and not putting in your best effort, then maybe we'll get to that particular point in time. But if you still continue to make the right decisions, finding the right directors and writers to adapt these characters and these stories that have been so monumental for 80 years, and you pick the right genre and you switch it up, and not everything is just color by numbers when it comes to superhero movies. If you can avoid that, the idea of adapting comic book movies or comic book stories into movies is virtually the same thing of adapting a book or a novel into a movie. They've been doing it since Gone with the Wind. They can do the same thing when it comes to comic book movies. People may be upset that comic book movies might be the only thing that's currently out there right now. And people may be rioting for superhero movies to certainly die. Well, Kevin Feige's response to that is clearly, well, hey, if you feel that way about comic book movies, you probably should feel that way about movies that have been adapted by books, because they've been doing it for years. So I just really love the way that Kevin Feige kind of puts this. For me, it kind of puts the argument of superhero fatigue to sleep. Pun intended, I guess, at the end of the day. But again, just because a superhero movie is bad, right? Look at Black Adam. Some people probably weren't the happiest with that film. It feels very kind of um, color by numbers to a certain extent. I kind of appreciated the way the origin story of Black Adam was kind of intertwined throughout the whole movie, and like onions, like layers of his story being revealed slowly, one thing at a time. I kind of enjoyed the way that they certainly did that. But outside of that, it still felt kind of, you know, color by numbers. And so just because you get something like that does not mean that you still can't get an Avengers Endgame or a Joker movie or a Spider-Man No Way Home film, right? There's always going to be great stories to certainly tell. Not everything is going to be successful, but there's plenty of great stories to certainly continue to be told over the years for people not to get tired of them. I think he makes some incredible points there. But I am kind of curious to know what you guys think. Um, he says, I don't think people are, Marcelina, what's up, Marcelina? He says, I don't think people are fatigued of comic book movies or superhero movies. I think they are fatigued of the Marvel formula and maybe just Marvel and DC in general. No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so, because I do think maybe I think if they're tired of anything, maybe DC in general. I think DC movies, based off of the money that they're making at the box office right now, might be showcasing some fatigue in DC, and the idea of like, damn, you guys just cannot get this shit right, can you? Like, I can understand the eye rolls that maybe like DC certainly gets, because they've had almost the same amount of time that Marvel has, and look where Marvel certainly is. So I don't think people are getting tired of the Marvel formula. I think the Marvel formula certainly works to the point to where now you see other franchises trying to steal the Marvel formula and making it work. I think where the fatigue comes from when it comes from Marvel is people are just ready for the next big thing. And when you end on a huge crescendo like Endgame, to then sort of rehabilitate or recharge and reboot, I don't even say reboot, but restart your storytelling, if you will, from like ground zero, it feels like. I'm sure some people probably um, wish for, I think we're still on that end game high and want everything to be sort of top tier. I do think that we're in a place where Kevin Feige is very much running himself a little bit too thin. I do think that he's gotten some good people to certainly work on this material, but once you start expanding upon what you've already created, it certainly does dilute things a little bit. And so I'm really hoping that Marvel has seen how phase 4 has come off and utilizes what they've learned from phase 4 to execute, say, a phase 5 and a phase 6 a little bit better, because it does feel like we're getting introduced to maybe too many things at once, without the singular sort of focus that we very much had for the first 3 phases compared to where we definitely are now. I think that's different from being tired of superhero movies and things like that. But I do think that there is a level of fatigue when it comes to maybe how DC has handled its things, compared to Marvel is. Again, I would agree with you. I don't think people are fatigued of comic book movies or superhero movies yet, but the execution of some of these, I think people might be getting a little bit tired of, Marcelino. So we'll see how it goes, though. But look, I'm sure people are going to be in their seats in theaters once something like a Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania drops. I think there's a ton of characters in there that we're looking forward to, whether that be Paul Rudd as Scott Lang in his journey. I'm fascinated to see what Cassie, his daughter, is going to be able to do. I think Evangeline Lilly looks great as Janet in her recent photos of the Wasp that we've seen from her. And you guys know, look, I'm here for Jonathan Majors, bro. Like this guy crushed it in Low Key season finale, season 1. He crushes it in everything that he's in. He's got an incredible range. I cannot wait to see him as King the Conqueror, and he may literally single-handedly save phase 5 and 6 of the MCU for us. Certainly going forward with some incredible moments I'm looking forward to. But then you look on the other side. Look, I when it comes to DC, I'm looking forward to their films. Shazam, we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. We've got Blue Beetle to come out. The Flash, I think, is set to go ahead and drop a brand new trailer in like 2 weeks. So we definitely have that to look forward to. Excited for Blue Beetle, and who everybody loves Jason Momoa is Aquaman. That's like I think that's the only DC film outside of Joker that's actually made over $1 billion as well, right? So I think that just goes to show where maybe some of the level of fatigue certainly might be when literally Aquaman is one of their only big $1 billion films that they can certainly account for. So they're really hoping that somebody like James Gunn and Peter Safran can inject some much needed excitement into their slate of films, and hopefully we'll begin seeing that this week. Keeping my fingers crossed, guys. But let me know your thoughts. Again, what do you think about Kevin Feige's views on superhero fatigue? Do you think he's in the right mindset of comparing it to how books and novels are adapted into films, yet nobody's tired of that certainly happening anytime soon? So I am kind of curious to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And with that, guys, we will move over into our next topic. But real quick, guys, if you guys haven't submitted your live viewer questions, feel free to do so. You can always go over to our main YouTube channel page, click on the community tab, and there is a live viewer question post for you guys to submit your questions. So please go ahead and do so. All right. Story number 3, and we'll stay in the realm of the MCU. One of the biggest moments that we've had when it comes to the MCU, especially Phase 4, was in fact Spider-Man No Way Home. I think we were all on our hands in anticipation, sitting on our hands in anticipation for the reveals of Andrew Garfield along with Tobey Maguire in No Way Home. Spoiler alert, if you still haven't seen it, they're in the movie. Great Spider-Man film, one of my favorites, easily top 3 for me. It was just a great moment to see Andrew, Tom, and Tobey, all Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, all together sharing the same screen together. But after seeing their departure, there's always been a lot of rumors and questions as to, are we going to see them again? Andrew Garfield deserves a 3rd movie. Bring back Tobey Maguire. Let's give him another Spider-Man 4. Like, everybody just wants these older Spider-Men to certainly return. While I personally think that they got themselves a fantastic farewell in Spider-Man No Way Home, I don't think we have the need to certainly have them come back. Is there a want? I'm not gonna lie. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Andrew Garfield in, say, a Spider-Man 3 if they ever wanted to finish off his trilogy. But if not, I'm perfectly okay with how the send-off and the farewell for Spider-Man No Way Home went for both Andrew and Tobey. For me, I think their journeys as Spider-Man is done. Tom Holland is the future, maybe a possible Miles Morales at some point in time. So I personally don't need them back. Would I like them to come back? Of course I would. And apparently I'm not the only one, as Tobey Maguire this past week let it be known that, hey, if you guys ever pick up the phone, if you need me, I'm answering the call. So it seems as though Tobey Maguire is interested in returning at some point in time. This is from comicbook.com. Let me go and pull this up here for you guys. It says Tobey Maguire has interesting answer about a Marvel future. So he says, let's see here. Maguire had a touching reply about working with his fellow friendly neighborhood web slingers, but then also offered an antidote, teasing that he's open to returning to the MCU in some capacity in the future. This is what Tobey Maguire says. He says, when they called initially, I was like, finally, Maguire replied with a laugh. I got the call and was immediately open about coming to do this. Not without nerves, what will this look like and what will the experience be? But to get to show up with beautiful, talented, creative people and play together, it's just like, yes, it's fun and exciting. I love these films and I love all of the different series. If these guys called me and said, would you show up tonight to hang out and goof around? Or would you show up to do this movie or read a scene or do a Spider-Man thing? It would be a yes, because why wouldn't I want to do that? I can't lie. I don't know if it's always been this image that I have of Tobey Maguire as like this crotchety old man now. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way he's aged. I don't know, the way that he's looking now and his aged self. I've seen way too many videos of Tobey Maguire yelling at paparazzi, "Move out of the way, get out of the goddamn way!" Like maybe I've just seen so many like sides of Tobey Maguire that I just think that in my head, I think to myself, this man's got to be done with this shit, right? Like he's got to probably absolutely hate comic book movies deep down inside. The idea of coming back as Spider-Man was probably torturous for this man, but he did it anyway for the fans. Sort of. I don't know why I get this mindset that Tobey Maguire is just like done and over with this type of stuff. So for me, this is super heartening for me. And really thrilled to see that he had as much fun on this set. Like, I do wonder if I wonder if this is him looking back on the situation in hindsight and saying, oh, yeah, I was completely down for it. Like, I wonder if this is truly how he felt about it before he got the phone call. But now that he has the experience after the phone call, he's like, why would I have ever said no to this sort of situation? I really don't know. For all I know, look, according to him, he's loved these movies. He's loved these series. He's personally been waiting for the phone call. I think that's kind of eye-opening for me. And for me, I love the fact that this was such a great experience for him. For me as a viewer, it felt like it was a great experience for the three of them, just seeing them on screen together. How could you not have fun in those kind of big moments? But I love the fact that he is open to returning as Spider-Man if they certainly were ever to call. And, I don't know if he would have been that open to returning to Spider-Man even before he got the call. But the fact that now that he has played the role one more time and he's open to it, it does make me wonder if just his experience on set, working with people like Tom Holland, and I think especially working with a studio company that knows how to make movies. I feel like um this is a recurring theme with actors that have been a part of MCU projects. Amelia Clark just literally came out a couple days ago and talked about her experience on Secret Invasion and how just impressed she was about how chill everybody was on set, how easygoing everybody was, and how it was such a well-oiled machine. I think actors appreciate going into something knowing that the people that are making this film know how to make movies. And the fact that you can go into an MCU film as big as No Way Home, pull it off without any issues, and have a fun time, I can wholeheartedly understand why Tobey Maguire would certainly want to come back and work with somebody like Marvel, like Sony, to go ahead and bring Peter Parker back into action in some capacity. So, look, does this mean that we're going to be getting ourselves a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire? No, I don't think that's what it means. But I do think this does open up the door a little bit more for him to maybe have a future cameo at some point in time. Like I've heard rumors of him popping up in Secret Wars. I don't know why he would need to pop up in Secret Wars personally. For me, if I were to have Tobey Maguire pop up anywhere, it probably would be in one of the Miles Morales movies, the Across the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse, like in the upcoming third film that they're going to be doing. Look, I've said this from the moment that they announced the sequels for Into the Spider-Verse. I really would like to see if we're going to go across all these different art styles and all these different universes when it comes to Miles Morales' story. I think this is your vehicle to bring Miles Morales into live action form. Maybe he gets stuck in this live action realm of ours. Who certainly knows? But I am hoping that by the end of this Spider-Verse trilogy, Miles Morales does get brought into the live action world. And I think one of those cameos that could easily pop up there, maybe an Andrew Garfield, maybe Tobey Maguire, right? Maybe they didn't quite go back to their time after No Way Home. Maybe the two of them got transported to another reality where they meet a live action Miles Morales, you know what I mean? Before eventually going back to their own places. Who knows? But I do think that there is a lot of great interactive points that you can utilize when it comes to Spider-Man, whether that be on the MCU side or the MCU side or the Sony side of things. So again, I'm really thrilled that he had such an amazing time putting together this movie, and it just kind of puts Toby new light for me because I don't know why I was always under the impression that he was just like a crotchety old man that was tired, and I'm not necessarily tired of being in movies because he continues to be in movies and does incredible work. I really enjoy him as an actor. But I guess for me, when it comes to comic book films or reprising his role as Spider-Man, I've just been under the impression for years that he was just sort of done with it, right? But I think anything can really rejuvenate you and inject you with new energy when you have an amazing time on set and you get to work with some incredible people, as he seemingly has gushed about them here in this particular article. So I think that says a lot, not only for the actors themselves, but also for the idea of just Marvel Studios and how they put their films together. Also, because yeah, again, I continue to hear great things from people. Marcelino says, conspiracy theory, Tobey Maguire is a hamster in a robot. Like a Men in Black character, like an alien controlling his body inside. Blossom says, as much as I like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Tom is okay with me. Yeah, listen, I almost feel like every generation has their own Spider-Man, right? Like for me, Tom Holland is definitely my Spider-Man as of right now. Like, yeah, I think he just does a great balance between Peter and Spidey. For me, Andrew was a great Spider-Man, didn't necessarily care about him so much as Peter. Whereas Toby, I thought he made a great Peter Parker, and I didn't mind his Spider-Man at all. I thought he had some great snappy comments when fighting his villains and stuff. I thought Sam Raimi did a pretty good job, but Tom Holland just feels very overall around, does a little bit of everything. So I'm very, very much thankful for Tom Holland. And I think Andrew and Toby would definitely say, yeah, we've passed the torch to this man a long time ago. You know what I mean? But if there is an opportunity to return, I'm glad to know that we probably don't have to guess too much as to whether or not they would want to come back or not. So I think Toby has definitely answered that. So if there is a possibility for Spider-Man to return, Toby might in fact pick up that phone. So let me ask you guys, are you surprised to hear this from Tobey Maguire himself, that he would love to come back and reprise his role, work with MCU in any fashion, or even return as Spider-Man? Let me know your thoughts. And if so, where would you like to see Tobey Maguire pop up again as Spider-Man? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below, guys. But that will in fact wrap up that Marvel story for us. We got 3 more topics that we're going to get into before your guys' live viewer questions. Hopefully everybody's weekend is going well so far. Somebody do me a favor, check the game score for me. What's the score for the 49ers and Eagles game? Is it a blowout like I'm thinking when it comes to the Eagles, or is it a pretty competitive match? Someone let me know. I think it's on Fox right now. So if you guys can let me know what the Eagles 49ers score is, I would certainly appreciate it. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into some DC news for you guys today as we wrap up here. We got 3 DC topics to wrap up your weekend. And more cancellations, guys. More cancellations, unfortunately. Mind you, these cancellations were already in the works before James Gunn and Peter Safran. So please, let's not blame James Gunn for this. If you're going to blame anybody, probably David Zaslav. So let's go ahead and get into this as we got more cancellations, this time coming from HBO Max, as it seems as though Titans Season 4 and Doom Patrol Season 4 will officially be the end of both of these shows. That's right, guys. Titans and Doom Patrol officially canceled over at HBO Max. And that's just 2 more DC television shows that are set to bite the dust. It says, this is from The Hollywood Reporter, Titans and Doom Patrol ending on HBO Max. Let me see if I can go ahead and share this article with you guys. Both of the Greg Berlanti produced DC Comics dramas originated on DC Universe. You guys remember that small DC Universe app that they had years ago? Greg Berlanti is certainly losing a lot of his television shows, but let's also recall Greg Berlanti did recently sign a huge deal with Warner Brothers Discovery to continue working on television side of things. So I definitely expect more Greg Berlanti content to certainly be on our way. It says Titans and Doom Patrol, the DC Comics drama that were originally developed to help launch the former DC Universe streaming services, are coming to an end. The current 4th season of both Greg Berlanti's produced HBO Max dramas will be their last, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Sources say producers on both Titans and Doom Patrol saw the writing on the wall amid all the changes with DC Entertainment and plotted their current seasons with proper endings so as not to leave the fans in a lurch. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having that forward thinking of knowing that this was certainly bound to happen. You know, David Zaslav has been chopping down projects left and right. I guess before they even got in the booth to go ahead and certainly write this out, they thought to themselves, let's just be safe. Let's be safe, give ourselves proper endings in case this, in fact, going to be the end. Because there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than going into a season, having a cliffhanger moment or expecting something else to happen next season, and come to find out your show was canceled. And as a viewer, you just left holding nothing. So I'm glad that they're at least going to have the opportunity to have proper endings that they deserve. It says, while these will be the final seasons of Doom Patrol and Titans, we are very proud of these series and excited for fans to see their climactic endings. They also thank Greg Berlanti and all the showrunners, yada, yada, yada. Both Doom Patrol and Titans originated on the niche streamer DC Universe. Titans was the first show that was ordered back in 2017 for the former platform with the spinoff. That's right. Most people don't remember that Doom Patrol is actually a spinoff of Titans. With the spinoff Doom Patrol nabbing a straight-to-series order a year later, Titans aired its first 2 seasons as a DCU original, while Doom Patrol was exclusive to the platform for its first season. This is what some of the cast members said. I'm immensely proud of our gifted cast, crew, and writing staff and their efforts in bringing to life all 49 episodes over the last 5+ years. I couldn't have asked for better partners in Berlanti. I'm incredibly grateful for their unyielding trust throughout this process. Lastly, I have to thank our incredible fans for their continued support, engagement, and the passionate community they've built around our show. We have 6 episodes left to unleash upon the world that we hope we will give our beloved characters the creative closure we all know they deserve. So yeah, that is in fact for Titans. And then I think somebody from Doom Patrol also says farewell also. So let's talk about this, guys. Doom Patrol and Titans meets their end. Thank you, Frankie. Just became 7-20 Eagles. Yeah, I figured this is gonna be a fucking blowout. Titans and Doom Patrol ending on HBO Max. Look, man, I have not watched seasons 3 and 4 of Doom Patrol as of yet. The first 2 seasons, I absolutely loved. I think the writing has been impeccable. I don't know how seasons 3 and 4 has certainly been handled, but I've been a big fan of Doom Patrol for a series that should just not make any sense. That's just such left field characters that nobody probably even heard of, to become as big of a series as Doom Patrol did. I think speaks wonders about the showrunner and the team that they managed to put together behind that, and the great casting choices as well. Honestly, I really hope that I get to see more of them. Honestly, with his what's her name? Guerrero. What's the fuck is her name? I'm dropping. I'm forgetting all about it. Diane Guerrero. I would love to see her in another DC property. If you ask me, for some reason, I think of like Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. I would absolutely love to see Diane Guerrero pop back up, maybe as a Green Lantern at some particular point in time. There's just so many great talent that Doom Patrol certainly had that I would love to see more of. Jovian Wade, I believe his name is. I thought he did a great job when it comes to Cyborg. Also, Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. I mean, Matt Boomer, April Downey. I mean, like I love this whole entire cast. I really did, and they did amazing work. And so it's going to be really sad to see that show and both of these shows, honestly, come to an end. You know, the Titan series. Me and the Titan series have a very much love-hate relationship, very much a roller coaster ride, if you will. But it's always been a season and a show that I've been fond of. I've really been fond of. I think Brenton Thwaites as Dick Grayson is phenomenal casting. I think he's done an incredible job as Nightwing in here. And he has really been sort of the rock for me personally that has held this ship together all 4 seasons. You know, I think Titans has always had that issue of starting off strong, for the first half and then quickly dwindling in the second half when they realize, oh my God, we've got all these random storylines that need to now kind of come together, and everything just gets rushed and put into a very rushed and uneventful sort of finale. I do feel like they've done that each of the first three seasons so far. But I do think that this is a show, despite that being some of my harshest criticism, I do think that this is a show that has continued to get better each season. Season one was enjoyable, but definitely not without its flaws for sure. Season two, great Deathstroke storyline, but then the second half of the series with Cadmus and Wonder Girl dying by electricity, like just the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But it got significantly better in the second season. Season three, I thought was great, especially just based off of the switching up of the location, going to Gotham, bringing a little edge and grittiness behind it as well. Still sort of had maybe some of this great start to the Red Hood storyline, but then kind of dwindled a little bit towards the end when it comes to Jason Todd's story arc and the idea of Scarecrow as like your true main bad of this. It just felt really weak, unfortunately. But they had great moments. Barbara Gordon and the Dick Grayson storyline I thought was really great. Getting to see Tim Drake kind of become a member also. So again, great moments, but really harsh landings when it comes to the second half and not being able to tighten itself up, even though I felt season three was doing a little bit better of a job. And season four, now that we're in, I did a first half season season review for part one. Man, I think this is the best season that they've had so far. The Brother Blood origin story has been told to perfection. I've really enjoyed seeing how this team has come along, and everybody has really now found themselves as an actor, as these characters. So I'm really excited to kind of see what the second part of season four is going to be about. But I'm not going to lie, there is something in the back of my head that makes me worry a little bit. But I feel like just based off of the first half, they have everybody's story arc sort of already interconnected with each other. So it doesn't feel like come the second half, there's so many pieces of a story that you're going to have to kind of bring in. So it feels like maybe there is a tightening of the ship here when it comes to season four. And so I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. I think for me, when it comes to Titans, I think the original source of frustration, I think, and maybe for a lot of fans, comes from this is just not what we envisioned when they announced a Titans series, right? I think a lot of us were thinking, hey, we're going to get sort of the Marv Wolfman, George Perez sort of family teen sidekick superhero sort of series. And that's not what we got. Instead, we got a fuck Batman and a TV MA rating. And we're looking around like, what the fuck? What? Titans? What are you talking about, Titans? And so I think that really blindsided a lot of us. But I think we definitely gave the show a shot. And the fact that it's 4 seasons deep, I think shows that fans have slowly come around to appreciating this show a little bit more. But I think we've been honest with ourselves that this is not a perfect show, but that it certainly has gotten better and they've tightened up these characters a little bit more. And I think we're big fans of these characters. And so for me, it is going to be hard to say farewell to this show because I've gotten so attached to a lot of this cast, to be perfectly honest with you. I think a lot of them done a really great job of bringing these characters to life, but I will be thankful of no longer having to sit through some of the missteps of the writing team. And so while we certainly say farewell to Titans, there is a part of me that really hopes that as James Gunn and Peter Safran take over, that at some point in time, either we get ourselves a Titans movie, or they eventually give us another Titans series, maybe 4 to 5 years down the road, and they give it to us in another tone. Because I do think that there's plenty of other Titans stories to certainly be told, and I think it would be fun. I think the Titans are just such a important staple to DC Comics and to DCU also, that I think they need these opportunities to certainly shine. So, again, despite the roller coaster relationship I have with Titans, I am thankful that they've at least allowed these characters to get a live action shine, which I've asked for years, and have maybe made their names a little bit more recognizable to the general audiences, if anything. So, again, love hate relationship, but I appreciate them getting better and better each and every year. And if you were to tell me we're going to get another Titan season 4 or 5 years down the road, as long as it's a different tone and a different vibe than this particular one, I certainly might be a happy camper. But, look, I'm sure everybody's relationship with Titans and Doom Patrol is significantly different than what mine certainly was. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Are you disappointed by the cancellations of these? I'm disappointed, but I certainly understand. There was a part of me that kept thinking to myself, do I really want a season 5 for Titans after this? Or am I ready to kind of move on? I feel like that's where my mentality certainly was. But maybe some of you guys want these shows to definitely continue. Let me know what your guys are certainly looking forward to for the final seasons here. Are you glad that they're able to properly wrap up their stories? I'm very thankful for that because, again, nothing worse than not having the ability to finish off a season and as a fan wondering what's going to happen to some of your characters. You know what I mean? Let's see here. What are you guys saying? Marcelino says, I like the current season of Titans. I just don't like it as a series finale. To me, it doesn't feel like a final season. I was hoping at least one more season that felt like a final season. I get what you mean there, Marcelino. I think the introduction of Brother Blood here almost makes me wonder if we were going to get another Trigon appearance, right? Like, there's another part of me that kind of wanted to see Trigon done again differently, maybe better this time with better special effects. 5 years or 4 years later, I got to think visually he would look different. But who knows? Maybe that's just not a bag that they're willing to go down. Maybe Brother Blood is certainly their final boss for them, if you will. Marcelino says, I thought season 3 was better than season 2. My biggest issue with season 3 was that it felt more like Gotham Knights with powers than a Titan show. Too much Batman lore in season 3. I can understand that too. I can definitely understand that too. I was thinking to myself, like, is this a Batman series? Because it feels like a Batman series more than anything. And he says, I was hoping to see more of Jericho and Rose after season 2. Yeah, Jericho would have been a great addition. I'm hoping they appear in season 4, but I am low expectations. Yeah, I'm not expecting any of them. But I did enjoy the Jericho storyline. And again, it was just one of those things where I would have much rather have had Jericho and the Rose storyline really be fleshed out more the rest of the half of season 2 instead of trying to then force and introduce us to the whole Cadmus situation and abducting Gar and them and things like that. Like, it was very sloppy, just very sloppy. But I do feel like they've tried to tighten it up each and every season. Nathan says, I don't even see them doing another Titan series. I do, because I think Titans is just that big and popular of a group and a team. I just don't think it's going to be happening immediately, right? Like, I do think like 4 or 5 year hiatus. Let's maybe wash our mouth out with soap of this particular iteration of team, and come back and see what we can do next. Like, if anything, even if we don't get a series, shit, I'll take a movie. We were just talking about the James Gunn slate. Shit, give me a Titans movie at some point in time. I would absolutely love that. Simon, what's up, Simon? Good to see you in here. He says, I enjoy Titans. I'm looking forward to the final season of The Flash. I'd rather have it continue. I never want any shows to end. Yeah, there are definitely some shows out there, Simon, that I'm like, please, season 8, give me a season 9. Can I get a season 10, please? Like, I know it's almost nearly impossible for shows these days to last that long. Kudos to The Flash for making it 9 seasons, honestly. So yeah, there are definitely some shows I definitely don't want to end. So I'm glad to see your perspective on that, Simon. And Marcelino says, I was also hoping to get a Red Hood spinoff and it adapting the Outlaws with Bizarro, Artemis, Blackfire, and Roy Harper. That would have been pretty cool. I think, yeah, I do think that Titans has done a great job of like at least creating spinoffs if they definitely wanted to. Red Hood would certainly have been a great one in that regard. So I like what you're thinking, Marcelino. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for your comments. And yeah, if after this live stream, if you have any other thoughts on Titans and Doom Patrol ending, feel free to let your thoughts be known in the comments section, and we'll definitely continue our discussion there. Next up, we've got big news in regards to DC television. But despite the fact that DC television just seems to be dwindling down left and right, things just canceling, wrapping up, it does feel like they are sort of making the way for just new content for DC sort of overall. Like, all right, let's wrap everything up here. Let's cancel some stuff. Maybe we'll take a year or two hiatus, and then boom, we'll hit them with brand new content that might be sort of all interconnected. But despite the fact that we are losing some DC television shows, it should be also reminded that there are still some DC television shows out there. We've got The Flash that's set to come back in March for its final season, and we've got Superman and Lois that's certainly set to go ahead and come back also. And if you care about Gotham Knights, yeah, we got that too, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, I'm not excited for Gotham Knights. I really am. I'm hoping that it surprises me, but it feels just like a one season and we're done sort of thing is the mentality that I have. But when it comes to Superman and Lois, I used to be all on board with this show, and then I got the bullshit excuse from them that, oh, by the way, this isn't in the same Earth as the Arrowverse, or at least not connected to the Arrow and the Flash that you guys all know after Crisis on Infinite Earths. The swerve was just super disrespectful to me as a viewer, I personally felt like. But listen, they're getting their third season. They're on a brand new Earth. So the John Diggle that we've been seeing is by far not connected to any of the other John Diggles that we have seen. He's a variant. He's another Earth John Diggle. And so since we are getting some characters or some actors coming back and reprising their role in Superman and Lois, not everybody is. A little bit of a bummer, but also a great opportunity for a new actor to take the role of some of these characters that we're used to. As this week, guys, when it comes to Superman and Lois season 3, we have ourselves a brand new Lex Luthor. That's right, guys. Superman and Lois has cast a new Lex Luthor. It is no longer John Cryer, who I was a big fan of in Supergirl. I think he did an incredible job of bringing his own flair mixed in with Gene Hackman a little bit from the original Superman films. I thought John Cryer just did a marvelous job of bringing Lex Luthor to sort of syndicated television. But this time around, now that Superman and Lois is set in its own Earth, we've got the opportunity to get ourselves a brand new Lex Luthor, and let's see exactly who they've cast. This comes to us from Entertainment Weekly. Superman and Lois casts Michael Cudlitz as Lex Luthor. It says Lex Luthor is coming for revenge on Superman and Lois. EU can exclusively reveal that Michael Cudlitz of The Walking Dead and Southland has been cast on the CW Superman drama as a new version of the iconic DC supervillain in season 3. So here is Michael Cudlitz. You probably have certainly seen him before in The Walking Dead if you've checked out the series. I have not seen Southland, so I'm not exactly sure how he's in that particular role, but I absolutely loved him as Abraham in The Walking Dead. We also got ourselves another new Lex Luthor in Titans season 4. I won't reveal to you the fate of Lex Luthor in season 4 of Titans. You definitely have to check it out yourself. But look, John Cryer was one. We got a new one for Titans, and now we're getting ourselves a new one here for Superman and Lois. But according to the official character description, Cudlitz Lex Luthor is known to the world as the visionary billionaire behind LexCorp, but secretly the criminal underworld knows who Lex truly is, a brutal psychopath who terrorizes anyone he crosses paths with. With Lex debut this season, it's been years since he dropped out of the public eye, and he's reemerging hell-bent on correcting a personal injustice by enacting revenge on the two people he feels have wronged him, Superman and Lois Lane. So, homeboy over here has got himself a little bit of some revenge he's looking to certainly seek on these two. And if the Superman and Lois season 3 trailers are any indication, it's going to be intense and super personal, super personal. It does say that season 3 begins just weeks after Clark Kent defeated Ali Alston. And Clark and Lois are now working at the Smallville Gazette together and enjoying small town life. But the Kent's romantic bliss only shines a light on how isolating the secret can be. As Chrissy struggles to balance a new love interest and her friendship with Lois. However, Lois' own work-life balance is put to the test when an undercover assignment reveals a deadly foe that promises to change the Kent family forever. Superman would move heaven and earth for his family, but with a villain this merciless, even that might not be enough. So a lot of things to certainly look forward to, guys. But yeah, it says Cudlitz is best known for playing Abraham on The Walking Dead, as well as directing more episodes. He also starred on TNT's Southland, for which he won a Critics' Choice Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama. I did not know that. But if you guys are interested, Superman and Lois premieres Tuesday, March 14th. So good luck to him, man. Good luck to him. I'm looking forward to seeing what his vision of Lex Luthor certainly is like. I definitely know I'm going to miss me some John Cryer. But I think if you're trying to, according to the official character description, the idea of picking somebody else to maybe draw a different aura and vibe about Lex Luthor out from somebody, I think Michael Cudlitz can do a great job of certainly filling that role. This may be a season that I personally don't check out. Maybe it's something that I'm sure Stuart will definitely be watching. I still have Superman season 2 to certainly watch as a whole and catch up on before I even check this one out. But maybe it's something that we'll try and review around here. I know Stuart's schedule can be a little bit crazy. I know he didn't really focus too much on season 2 reviews, but maybe we'll get him to be able to do season 3 for the channel as well. If anything, hit Stuart up. You know, if you guys want Stuart to tackle the season 3 of Superman, plead and beg for him. You guys know his socials on social media at TurboStew01. Feel free to go ahead and hit him up and ask him to do Superman and Lois season 3 for the channel. But good luck to Michael. I hope he embodies Lex Luthor like no other. But I'm gonna miss you, John Cryer. And it's funny, John Cryer this week did come out and talk about the idea that while he was thankful for the opportunities he certainly had, he understands that he's not going to come back and reprise the role. He did mention that he tried to pitch a Legion of Doom series to the CW and DC. Which I thought would have been really great. Like the idea of John Cryer at the head of a Legion of Doom table and group, I think would have been fantastic to certainly watch, but they didn't pick up on it, unfortunately. Like I would have much rather have had a Legion of Doom spinoff than say a Gotham Knights series. Hell, I would have loved a Legion of Doom series over a Naomi series, to be perfectly honest with you guys. I was pitching for a Legionnaires or a Legion of Superheroes spinoff for a really long time. I think I even have a video up on here stating my case why I thought a Legion of Superheroes spinoff out of Supergirl would have been a really great show. I think it's something they still could definitely tackle if they want to. But I think Legion of Superheroes would have been a great one, especially Legion of Doom. So, unfortunately, these shows we're certainly not going to get. But thank you so much, John Cryer, for the great years you did give us as Lex Luthor. I'm not sure if Michael Cudlitz will be able to fill your shoes, but I definitely do think he'll certainly leave his own legacy as Lex Luthor. So, let's see how he does, shall we? What are you guys saying in here? Marcelino says cutlets as Lex Luthor sounds very intriguing. I would like to see how he plays him. Yeah, me too. I wonder if he's gonna go the bald headed route. Is he gonna shave his head? I believe Lionel Luthor is a redhead. His father, Lex's father, or is that I think Lex in the comics at some point in time, or some versions of him, is redhead. So maybe he'll have the full beard and the full set of hair in here. I don't know. I don't know what route they're gonna go with him, but it should be interesting. Frankie says, we'll be interested to see his take on Luther, but Michael Rosenbaum will always be Lex to me. Yeah, he was so great in Smallville, man. Honestly, like when Michael left Smallville, I literally gave that show like one more season. And after that season, I was done. It just did not feel the same without Lex there anymore. So yeah, man, he was a great Lex Luthor. Yeah, there's not many I felt like I've been happy with as Lex Luthor, but Michael Rosenbaum and John Cryer are probably my favorite iterations of Lex Luthor that we've ever had. All right, guys, and last but not least, for the last topic of the day, we'll round off with some DCU talk. As this past week, we wind up getting ourselves a Shazam 2 trailer. That's right. Fury of the Gods is almost here, guys. March 17th. Mark your calendars. We're getting ready for the next installment of Shazam. And this trailer wound up dropping. I can't remember how long the trailer certainly was, but if you ask me, I think it's probably the best of the trailers that we've gotten for Shazam in here. Great soundtrack, if you ask me, also. But this, for me, this trailer really picks up the intensity for sure. I love getting the opportunity to see all the action in here and a little bit more insight in regards to the story. I think for me, the Daughters of Atlas really shine in here. Getting the opportunity to see Helen Mirren really be a little bit more physical. Seeing Lucy on the back of a freaking dragon looks great. The special effects look breathtaking to me. Get an opportunity to see not only the monsters, but some of the big action pieces that we're going to get in here as well. I think it all looks great. Whether it's Shazam flying through the sky, Renee Zegler's character doing something with moving all the buildings and stuff out of the way, like a big Rubik's cube or Tetris sort of scheme. I love everything that I saw visually on here. Even the idea of Shazam taking on a freaking dragon, whether that's the climactic battle or not. It looks breathtaking. It truly does. I cannot wait to see it on the big screen. For me, I am going to be interested to see what this story is like, though. What is Renee Zegler's character? How does she fit into being one of the Daughters of Atlas in here? It seems as though the kids that we saw from the first Shazam are no longer kids. They definitely have certainly grown up. So I am expecting a little bit more of a different dynamic between the characters this go around. While the first one felt very much family oriented, and I'm sure this will certainly feel very family oriented also, they were kids back then. Now I'm sure that some of these kids are going through high school and different problems, whether that be with puberty, whether that be with new friends, understanding themselves, maybe getting to new schools or a different college. Who certainly knows? But I do feel like the cast or these characters are definitely in a much different place in their life than where they were in the first one. And so that dynamic alone, for me, will be interesting to kind of see how Shazam, especially as Billy, handles all that, right? He talks about the idea like, hey, first I got powers, now they've got powers. Now as a whole family, we've got powers and they're kind of all doing their own thing, almost sort of thing. I am kind of curious to see how they function as a Shazam family now that they're all older and have a little bit more experience under their belt being sort of superheroes. I love the idea of the Daughters of Atlas seemingly pissed off and upset that it's these kids that have acquired these powers that they feel they personally own or have a right to. And the fact that these powers have been given to these freaking kids clearly is something that gets certainly under their skin. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how Helen Mirren and Lucy do when it comes to facing off against the Shazam family, and really how far they'll certainly go to definitely get their way. So I'm intrigued by it. I think for me, the scope of this is a little bit more interesting. Again, I am one of those people that enjoyed the Shazam film for what it certainly was. You know, I've always known Shazam to always be the comedic one just because he's literally a kid in an adult's body, right? So I never really went into the Shazam movie expecting it to be serious. And I don't think that's what they were certainly going for. I think that they nailed it in regards to a smaller film, much more family oriented, and a really great message within it also. And I think it certainly delivered in that right. But now that we are in a sequel, I do feel like just based off of the trailers, they are up in the ante a little bit, pushing the envelope. And that's really all that I can certainly ask for as of right now. And we'll see how this movie does. You know, I'm not going to lie, there is an element to all of this, though, that does creep into the back of my head in the sense of kind of going into this movie still with low expectations. I don't think you'll ever find me going to a Shazam film with high expectations. And I also think it's just because of the fact that, you know, this all, I don't want to say this feels like the ending of a chapter, but it's like, you know, where are you going to go from here? Right. Are we going to get another Shazam film after this? I really don't think so, but I could be wrong. I don't know what James Gunn certainly has planned. But because of the fact that this feels like this is the last film of Shazam I'm certainly going to see, there is a part of me that is like, should I even care about this film? And I think that's probably maybe some questions that people have in regards to just this upcoming year of Marvel, of DC films. Should I care about Shazam? Should I care about Blue Beetle? Should I care about Aquaman and even go out and see these films? For me, I'm still going to see them because I enjoyed certainly the originals of what they were, but I can understand people being hesitant or not really caring as much anymore because it's like, where are you going to go from here, right? Is there any story even left to tell? Or will they even tell these stories of these characters kind of going forward? So, but for me, again, I really want to see the progression of Shazam, how you go from the first film to the second one. That type of stuff definitely intrigues me. And I've become a fan of Zachary Levi since I've seen him as the Shazam character. So I definitely want to go ahead and definitely support him. But let me know what you guys think in regards to this. Have you checked out the Shazam Fury for the Gods trailer? It's the second one. I think it's already gotten like 15 million views over the past 2 days. So I definitely do think it's picked up some steam, and people are starting to recognize it as well. So I'm hoping that this film certainly delivers. I'm still not expecting a big box office, but I do think that people will show up for this movie, or at least I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they do. But let me know what you guys think, guys. What did you think of the Fury of God's second trailer? And what are your expectations for this film? And is it something you're looking forward to? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Marcelino says, I purposely skipped the second Shazam trailer. I don't want any spoilers. The first one hooked me. The second one would have just spoiled everything. I don't need another Spider-Man Homecoming situation. You know, I didn't feel like this was spoilerish. I do think that it shows, you know, maybe some of the final climactic battle, but watching it, I wasn't able to put the pieces together. So I don't really know what this film has in store. Whereas Marcelino, I would almost agree with you when it comes to the Ant-Man trailer. Like the Ant-Man trailer that I watched was probably like 20 seconds too long, maybe like 20, 30 seconds a little bit too long. It felt like they got into spoilerish territory with some dialogue and some climactic battle sequences. Like I just felt like I didn't need to see all that. So I understand the idea. And look, trust me, you're not the only person, Marcelino. My friend Jonathan, he'll watch the teasers and then that's it. He won't watch official trailers. He won't watch a second official trailers. He won't watch TV spots. He's just a teaser trailer guy. He's one and done, man. He's one and done. I gotta give him prompts for that. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I gotta watch these trailers. Let's see here. Simon. Yeah, you should care. I think because I watch each individual movie for what it is, a standalone. I don't watch movies strictly for its build up to the next movie. And I would agree with you, Simon. I definitely would agree with you there. It's not so much well, I guess it is kind of the buildup in regards to me asking the questions. It's something I should truly care about. But you're right. I mean, we should kind of all go into it looking at just a singular movie for certainly what it is, regardless if we're going to get a sequel to it or not, or if there's any plans for this character after that. I was a big fan of the first film, so I definitely will be checking out this one as well. Frankie, the next logical place for Shazam to have gone would have been a confrontation with Black Adam, but not sure that's going to happen now. Yeah, I would agree with you too. A Black Adam 2 or Shazam 3, you would have thought that these two were going to be locking horns. It's just a shame that we never got that opportunity. I felt like if there was anybody that was connected to Shazam, it was definitely Black Adam more than, say, Black Adam connected to Superman. I get the relationship between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Henry Cavill, and I'm super thankful for what we did get out of Black Adam in that regards. But there's a part of me that always felt like maybe if they had just stuck to the plan, maybe we probably would eventually have gotten it, but unfortunately not. So all those anybody out there that was certainly hoping to see Zachary Levi versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, probably certainly not going to happen. But we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. But I think you're right. I think that would have been the next logical place. Simon says, I still laugh at that hierarchy line. Yeah, that the hierarchy of the power of DC is about to change. Yeah, it's going to change. Just not with you, bro. Sorry. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts and levels of anticipation for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Again, dropping March 17th. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. And that will officially wrap up our live viewer questions. That will officially wrap up our topics for the day. But now, for those of you who are wondering, it is now time for live viewer questions. As we get into your guys' live viewer questions for the day. So thank you, everybody who certainly participated. Why is my phone blowing up right now? Oh, it's everybody talking about the Eagles game, I guess. All right, guys, we're going to get into your live viewer questions. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. And if you guys are in the live chat, especially if you're watching, if you have not hit that like button, please go ahead and do so, guys. The like button definitely does go a long way, along with leaving comments at the end of each of our videos. And look, if you love the content that we continue to have, feel free to share our videos, make clips out of them if you want to, spread them on the internet, whatever the case may be. We only grow because of you guys. All right. So for those of you who don't know, if you would like to go ahead and submit a live viewer question, feel free to just go over to our main channel page, 8+ Hero Report. Click on that community tab. And usually a day or a couple days before we go live, there is a live viewer questions post that we usually drop, as you can see here. And let's go ahead and see what you guys are saying today. Newest first. All right, let's do this. Marcelino Vasquez with the first question. Hey, Adam, you said that you either don't keep up with or stop watching The Flash, The Walking Dead, Smallville, Legends of Tomorrow, Gotham, Superman and Lois, Batwoman, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Stargirl, The Bad Batch, Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn, Jessica Jones, or Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. But you at one point plan on going back to finish watching every episode to every show that you missed out on? Let's see. The Flash, probably not. Walking Dead, yes, I've contemplated it. Smallville, probably not. Legends of Tomorrow, definitely not. Gotham, no. Superman and Lois, probably. Batwoman, nah.
Luke Cage, probably not. Iron Fist, nope. Stargirl, yes. Bad Batch, nah. Doom Patrol, why not? Harley Quinn, we'll see. Jessica Jones, no. Or Agents of Shield, nah. So yeah, out of those, out of those 5, that's probably where I plan on going back. So thank you for your question. Ram Jam. Hey, Adam. Hope you're doing well. I have a few questions. Do you think a Tomb Raider series will do well on Amazon Prime? I read from comicbook.com that Biker Mice from Mars is coming back with the new toy line and a new animated series. What are your thoughts? Damn, I haven't heard the term Biker Mice from Mars since I was a kid, bro. Um, I just remember, I don't even remember the cartoon so much as I do remember like the ads for the toys. But that's cool. If you want to bring back what was old and make it new again, I feel like that's the current direction we're in a lot these days. I don't know if there's a big audience for that. Maybe I gotten a little bit too old for that show by the time it dropped as a kid, but I remember hearing of this show, but I feel like I don't recall watching the show, but I remember the ads for the toys more than I do the show. So good luck to them, man. But do I think Tomb Raider will do well on Amazon Prime? I do. I think Amazon does make some pretty good shows. Um, they've hella impressed me with the first season of Lord of the Rings. I'm super hyped for what they're gonna potentially do with God of War. I'm trying to remember if there was something for Assassin's Creed or not. I think Assassin's Creed might be in like developmental hell, but I don't even know if Amazon was working on anything for them or not. But some of the Amazon series I have watched, not many, but the ones I have watched, I have enjoyed. I feel like Amazon does put focus on making their shows great. I never feel like they've been lazy about anything that they do. So I have hope. Yeah, I have hope that Amazon will really take really good care of um, will really take good care of the Tomb Raider franchise. Simon says, smash the like button. Thank you so much, Simon. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the support. Dino Nights, what's up, AJ? My personal opinion on Operation Overdrive. I might be one of the few people that actually liked Overdrive and didn't really have any problem with it, especially the 15th anniversary crossover. Once a Ranger to me, in a way, echoed Turbo passing of the torch two-parter with Tommy and his team were replaced by TJ and the others. The Rangers rejoining the team in Once Ranger Part 2 was cool because they later felt guilty of leaving while the city was still in danger and the Retro Rangers still fighting. This crossover even overshadowed Tyzon's fiance, Vela, to actually still be alive when he was walking through a field looking during the montage sequence. Sadly, majority of the fandom missed the point of Once a Ranger. Even the writer Jackie Merchant said at the most recent Power Morphicon. Anyways, I'm glad Overdrive team were the first group to give up being Power Rangers. Felt more real and was a callback to the very first episode of the season that they were never interested in the first place. Andrew Hartford was basically hired them to be Rangers when he had no other options. Hartford himself, who was a rich guy hiring a team to be Rangers, felt like a node to Time Force when Mr. Collins tried to hire the Rangers to work for him and leave Wes on his own, replacing him and Eric as the leader. I also really liked that from the first episode leading to Once a Ranger. The Rangers at first thought that Hartford was crazy of them becoming Rangers, which was also a nod to MMPR and Lightspeed when both teams thought Zordon and Captain Mitchell were nuts. It was great callbacks. Francois, what's up, Francois? What are your thoughts what are your hopes for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and do you think it will be one of the best of the MCU? Man, I hope so. Francois. I'm hoping that this truly surprises us. I think we know that there are going to be big stakes in this movie, but I hope emotionally it's super impactful. I really am. I'm hoping it's emotional, great performances, and really has a lot of stakes behind it. I know that they have really been hyping it up to have a big impact on Phase 5 and the MCU going forward. And I'm really hoping that it certainly delivers.
My hope is that this really puts Kang into a much bigger spotlight than he already is, to really solidify him as the big bad, certainly going forward. I mean, look, he's been teased in Loki, but it's almost like, if you haven't watched Loki and you've just watched some of the other stuff, or just um, the movies themselves, you may not even know that there's a Kang the Conqueror, or a variant of Kang sort of out there. So I hope this does a really great job of establishing him as the next big bad, sort of how we got Thanos teased a little bit at the end of the first Avengers film, right? With the side face. I hope that this is the side face glare. I hope that this is sort of like that Thanos tease, just on a much bigger level, so that people watching it can say, oh, yeah, he's going to be a problem from the MCU in the next sort of 2 phases. I guess, if anything, maybe Kang's Thanos moment probably came in the series finale of Loki, if you watched it. But so yeah, I'm hoping for big things there, and I'm really hoping that it establishes Cassie as some sort of hero, or a future for her sort of being a hero. Um, and I think I'm hoping too that it allows Scott Lang as Ant-Man to be taken a little bit more seriously, or seen as a much bigger threat when it comes to, not a threat, but a much more formidable hero than I think we have of him in our mindset, right? Like, was it Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man? Didn't he literally single-handedly beat Falcon by himself? That was an impressive feat. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I fell asleep on so many times. I can barely tell you the correct story arc for that movie. It was so boring to me and underwhelming. But seeing him in Endgame, I thought was pretty cool. Getting the opportunity to see how pivotal he was to the success of the Avengers surviving that big climactic battle. Him being utilized as Giant Man was really awesome. It's still one of my coolest scenes to see him, this big dude in the background, just running with everybody else, punching, one of the alien creatures out of the sky, sort of thing. So he's definitely had his moments in the spotlight. Especially when it comes to like Civil War, I think he impressed too. So I'm hoping that this shoots him even further into that trajectory of heroes that the Avengers can certainly count on, right? Like, for me, seeing the WandaVision series catapulted Wanda and Vision in that regards to, oh yeah, these guys are now stepped up to be full-fledged Avengers, like they could lead an Avengers team. And I'm kind of hoping this movie does the same thing for Ant-Man, in the sense of, if we haven't been convinced that this dude is a formidable Avenger, I'm hoping that this movie certainly does that. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see Ant-Man against Kang. It just seems very much like the power set is ginormous between the two of them. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Scott navigates this very treacherous sort of situation he's going to find himself in, because I do find it to be very I do find it to be very like a mountain that's very difficult for him to climb. Marcelino, going back to this question, I understand not wanting to watch most of the shows, but why not Batwoman, Agents of Shield, Luke Cage, or Gotham? For me, honestly, it comes down to the idea of just so much other content I gotta watch. Like, maybe if there's a world where I'm like done with everything, then maybe I'll try and catch up on some of these. Um, but yeah, like Agents of Shield, I feel like there's just so much content I gotta go back and check out. Luke Cage will probably only have to be one season, because I think it's just really season 2 I didn't finish. Gotham, I probably have 2 or 3 more seasons, and those are long seasons too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just maybe a lot of content. It's just a lot of content, really, is what it comes down to for me. Power Rangers Legacy is next. After watching Car Ranger this past week, I found a new respect for Turbo. Car Ranger was an obvious joke, a complete parody to everything they had done in the past. I completely understand that after 20 seasons, you want to try something like that. But PR were only into their fifth season at the time, and they had the same continuity and mostly the same team from the start. They couldn't just become parodies of themselves all of a sudden. They added a kid to the team to bring more lightheartedness, but they also needed to respect the continuity that they had built so far. Granted, they still made some bad decisions during that season, but still managed to have one of the darkest season endings. I definitely won't look down on this season as I did in the past. Do you think if Power Rangers did a parody of itself the way Power Ranger did, it would have been the exact opposite or a straight up goofy make or break the series? Though depends on how it's written.
I'm gonna say something here, guys, and don't get mad at me. I almost feel like Power Rangers is a parody of itself at this point. Or at least we've gone through that parody phase, and that's called the Neo Saban era. I almost feel like that's what Power Rangers has been over the past several years until Hasbro kind of took over a little bit. It's like how much goofier and straight up ridiculous can we get with these Power Ranger shows? You know what I mean? Or at least if there was a parody of itself, maybe we should probably look to Ninja Steel. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I do think it's kind of been a parody of itself for a short period of time. So I would agree with you there. But if anything, I would say this. I think you going back and watching Car Ranger, I think was probably the one of the best things you probably could have done for Power Rangers Turbo. And I feel like I've said this before that I feel like you Power Rangers Legacy that if I watched Car Ranger and then watched Turbo, I might have a different appreciation or a different viewpoint on Turbo because I do think that you're right. I think if you're not familiar with what it's being adapted to, and as a kid you're just watching this, you're like, what is happening right now? When did this show become such a joke? If we're not familiar and understanding the idea that hey, Power Rangers is adapted from other series, and if it's adapted from a series that we haven't watched, and knowing what Saban was like during that time period of really taking a lot of stuff from Super Sentai at the time, um, it's a hard watch for fans and as kids. I think for us who maybe at the time wasn't privy or understanding of what Super Sentai fully was or had watched any of these past seasons. So I do think I that is something I would recommend to everybody. Power Rangers Legacy, like if you are a fan of, like regardless of what you thought about Power Rangers Turbo, I do think that we should all probably check out Car Ranger and then rewatch Power Rangers Turbo and see if we appreciate it a little bit more. Because I do think that there would be some people that would have a much better appreciation of Turbo if they went in that particular direction. It's something I probably want to do because it's still a season that I'm not a big fan of. But understanding how much of a parody and how much of a goof off season Car Ranger certainly was, I do think if I watch it, it may not make me like Turbo more, but it may make me at least understand the situation that Turbo found itself in during that time period. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you doing that, Power Ranger Legacy. Blossom, what's up, Blossom? What part of MMPR anniversary are you looking forward to the most? Apart from the boys, I'm looking forward to seeing how the story will work. About Robo Rita, for a moment, I thought she became evil again. She purified herself is Mystic Mother, right? Her purified self is Mystic Mother, right? Yes, absolutely. You're definitely right about that part. But yeah, this is a Rita Repulsa that I feel very much is going to be I think they've teased or talked about the idea of her being a Robo version. So they will be bringing back the voice actor to go ahead and reprise her role. Who the big villain is going to be will be interesting. They do talk about foe from the past. Is that Zed? Is that the Machine Empire making Robo versions of people? Who certainly knows? But what part of the MMPR anniversary am I looking forward to the most? Here, I'm going to pull up a photo that I think will sum it up pretty well. I think for me, it's this relationship right here. For me, I am really fascinated to
see the Trini legacy continue along with the storyline behind it. Um, I've become a really big fan of Charlie Kirsch. Seeing her on Instagram, she's such an incredibly talented woman. Like she truly is. I think they hit a gold mine when they cast her, and I think Tui Trang would be extremely honored and proud to have Charlie Kirsch's Min continue on her legacy. And I haven't even watched the show yet, but I just have a good feeling about it. But I think for me, it's really going to be I want to see the story of Trini continued in some way, and I think it's out of these three that's going to make me appreciate it a little bit more. One, because I think we always understood the relationship between Billy and Trini, um, and I've always been big fan of the relationship and friendship between Zach and Billy. Also, the fact that Zach is there with her, bringing back the true OGs that fought alongside with Trini, to share a sentimental moment at the grave of Trini, um, I think speaks wonders. So I think out of all the photos that Entertainment Weekly released, this is probably one of my favorites because I think it focuses really on the aspect of the MMPR anniversary. I'm really looking forward to, like, not just the Trini stuff, but just the Walter and David coming back as Billy and Zach, and seeing them fight alongside each other and just what their friendship and bond is going to be. Like, I get the feeling that these two are going to be the ones that really carry this special, that are going to get, like, these three are probably going to have the most focus. And if that's the case, I think it's a win-win for everybody. Again, not to take away from what Catherine Sutherland and Steve Cardenas are definitely going to do. They look great. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. The Min and Trini storyline, along with how she fits in here, along with Zach and Billy, and just that bond between Zach and Billy again. Also, so those are probably some of the things I'm looking forward to. Adam Perez, Adrian Perez. What's up, Adrian? Good to see you back in here, man. He says, I think it's still awesome that Steve Cardenas is coming back as Rocky for the MMPR reunion. We all know why Austin St. John himself can't return on screen. While some people really don't like Rocky as MMPR Red Ranger, it really wasn't his fault as a character. Tommy just became a leader out of nowhere when he became the White Ranger. Thought it would have been great if Rocky was at least second in command with Tommy. Rocky didn't really become his own identity until Zeo as the Blue Ranger. As for the reunion itself, I'm really glad Rocky is coming back as the Red Ranger regardless. My question is, for the reunion, would you like the team to morph in order or in random, similar to the 95 movie? I say in order. Give me an order. I'll be cool with in order. Um, yeah, so definitely start. Didn't Damn, who I'm trying to remember who kicked off the sequence. For some reason, I'm always thinking like fucking Red started off the sequence, but did Red start off the sequence once Rocky became in there because he was no longer the leader? Damn, I can't remember now. I'm cool with whatever order they really go through, honestly. But like you, look, I'm glad that Rocky has got the start here. We can't forget about Rocky. He may not have been a leader of the Power Rangers, but he definitely was a Red Ranger. Rocky definitely deserves probably a lot more love than he certainly gets. Even though I still see a lot of people over at Steve Cardenas's tables and stuff whenever he goes to conventions and whatnot. I mean, Homeboy is looking swole though. I mean, if there's any time Rocky is ready to shine as MMPR Red, now is the time, guy. I mean, he has filled out his shirts incredibly well, and that just screams leadership material to me at this point in time. So I do think that Steve Cardenas has definitely earned his right to certainly be here. Look, if Catherine Sutherland is here, Steve Cardenas has earned his right to certainly be here as well. So I'm glad that he's getting the opportunity to shine as the Red Ranger. Look, Jason Austin St. John had his time in the sun. Homeboy came back for Beast Morphers. He did his thing. But I feel like over the past couple years, Steve Cardenas has represented the Red Ranger properly. Wasn't he the Red Ranger also in the the 20th, was it the 20th anniversary with is it Ninja Steel, or 25th anniversary with Ninja Steel? I think he was Red Ranger in that also. So it's not the first time that we've seen Rocky come back as Red. But yeah, I think this is definitely warranted. John Schuyler, what's up, John? I should have asked this last week, so here it goes. What do you guys think of Becca and Alwyn, who were the main two writers of Dino Fury, now later Cosmic Fury, also being the ones who wrote the MMPR reunion special Once and Always? I feel like they've already shown huge improvement in Dino Fury, since we all know they were incredibly handcuffed by Saban and Nickelodeon during the Neo Saban era seasons. Just watching the MMPR special behind the scenes video trailer, they really sounded very passionate and excited to share what they have created. They've talked about how the anniversary special will have tons of things for newer fans who never grew up on MMPR to learn about and look forward to. And of course, a lot of things for longtime fans of the franchise as a way to say thank you. They've also given a little more information during the exclusive interview last week's fan stream to wrap things up. Do you think once we see Once and Always, this will make us feel more comfortable and more curious as to what's in store for Cosmic Fury? I think we should already be confident about what's in store for Cosmic Fury. But again, I have still not finished off Dino Fury season 2 as of yet. So I don't know what the climax is or how this season itself wraps up, if it's a disappointment for fans or not. But I would assume that it was a stellar season finale. I'm almost done. I literally just got to, what part was I at? Morphine Master Green got involved. Then Blue came in, and I think Red came in trying to capture her for getting involved with helping out the Rangers or interfering with life. And now I think at the end of the episode, they've understood their ways and understood all the good that she's done, or along those lines, sort of thing. So I definitely have a few more episodes I definitely have to tackle. But, for me, I feel like I've seen a big improvement in the writing. I mean, is it to perfection? Obviously not. I think there's still elements of this needs to be a kid show that I think us as older fans kind of get tired of, but understand that it's necessary. But when you look past those moments, I think they've got some really great character work. I think they've had some really great story arcs for a lot of their characters, and have really injected a level of excitement back into Power Rangers that was much needed. I think they were capable of doing that with Beast Morphers, which seemed to be a turning of the tide, right? Maybe not perfect, but they definitely did some really good things. And then now you dive into Dino Fury, and it feels like another improvement on top of an improvement right off of Beast Morphers. And now, mind you, one thing that I think some of us may forget is we're now moving to Netflix, right? Dino Fury was written for Nickelodeon. Now we're moving to Netflix, though, where you have a lot more, certainly, creative freedom, things to definitely dive into. I mean, we're literally getting a cemetery scene for Trini, or at least it looks like a cemetery scene just from the photos from Entertainment Weekly alone. I don't even remember last time we got a cemetery scene in Power Rangers. Have we gotten one? And if so, when was the last time that we had one? Maybe I'm truly forgetting something here. But so I do think that Once and Always will definitely push that envelope of creativeness. Really allow Becca and Alwyn to shine maybe even a little bit more than when they couldn't in the Neo Saban era, and maybe pull the trigger on some things that they couldn't even do for Beast Morphers and Dino Fury. So yeah, I'm feeling confident. I feel like this is going to be their opportunity to shine. Could this all backfire in my face? Absolutely. Could Once and Always be complete trash and Cosmic Fury just be a big disappointment? Obviously, it certainly has the opportunity to do so, but the momentum and the direction that I've seen things go doesn't tell me that that's what's going to happen. I do think Once and Always will certainly be. I'm excited for it. I think if you're able to get David Yost to even come back, I think that says a lot about what the script certainly asks for from their cast members. And the fact that you even get Walter back, like, I don't think it's an easy task to get Walter or David back for any of this stuff. And so for me, that speaks more to the script than, hey, I just want to come back because it's the 30th anniversary. I feel like you got to move mountains in order to get David Yost to want to do anything Power Ranger related. So that's where my confidence lies. My confidence does lie in the script for Once and Always, along with Cosmic Fury. Roberto Bueno. Hola, amigos. ¿Cómo estás? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much. The episode True Blue of Power Rangers in Space, when Justin came back to help rescue his old car, Storm Blaster, and TJ's lightning cruise, was a great way of bringing proper closure to Justin and his father. Dino Fury did the same thing with the Nexus Prison from Ninja Steel by actually giving its origin story by involving the Morphing Masters was, to me, excellent. I totally agree with you. They made an aspect of Ninja Steel that I did not care about actually care about something, and I think that speaks volumes. Bringing more connective tissue to Power Ranger lore. What do you think of when a current season of Power Rangers has connective tissues to the past, and what storylines or cliffhangers from a past season did you not expect to be resolved? I'm actually surprised that they even brought back Lord Zed. I feel like that was already resolved. I think we already had a proper closure to it, but I thought it was a really interesting and unique way to bring back Lord Zed, and not just even bring him back for like a one-off, but for him to have such a huge impact on a series or a season or two. I think really speaks volumes also. But I'm a fan of connective tissues, and I think that's why for the longest time I couldn't get into Power Rangers on Disney, because I just felt there was such a big disconnect. There's nothing wrong with these shows taking place in their own multiverses, but I used to get so discouraged when the new team didn't even know about the other team. Like, what are you talking about? How do you have a Power Ranger team that's unaware of anything else crazy that would have gone on in the world of monsters attacking the city? Like, how do you not know of like your predecessors, the people that came before you when it comes to Power Rangers? So the idea of Power Rangers during the Disney era to just not be connected that way really kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't such a fan. But now that I feel like it's embraced its connectivity, it's embraced the idea and concept of a multiverse, has made me enjoy Power Rangers a little bit more. Again, I don't necessarily need everything to connect to the past, but just Easter eggs here or there, little mentions here or there, I think really go a long way of just showcasing, hey, it all matters. You know what I mean? It all matters. And so I would agree with you. Little things like the Nexus Prism popping up in here, right? Like I think we saw, I think we saw them. The teaser, the trailer for the Nexus Prism, or whenever the Nexus Prism popped up. I don't remember if it was like in um, an early look photo or whatever, but I just remember people thinking, "Oh my God, Ninja Steel's coming back. This series is going to be trash." But they did an excellent job of making the Nexus Prism matter and actually account for something. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of connective tissues between seasons. Adam Perea. I still can't believe that Amelia became the Cosmic Fury Red Ranger. Similarly in Q Ranger, where Cosmic Fury will be using Zord footage from the Red Ranger, later became the White Ranger in the series. Oh, interesting. So Amelia switching from Dino Fury Pink to Cosmic Fury Red would be a great nod to Q Ranger. Same with Zato, going from Dino Fury Red to Cosmic Fury Zenith Ranger, or Champagne Poppy Ranger, as some people like to refer to him as these days. So yeah, there definitely is some callbacks to Q Ranger for that update. Like almost, if you ask me, the Zato from the Red, like, look, I have not watched the Dino Fury finale, but I have seen an image, I believe it was, of Zato in like a new white Ranger costume, I think, with the Dino Fury logo on the front, if I'm not mistaken. That kind of also harkens back to me from um, the idea of Q Ranger. Because for me, for a second, when I first saw it, I thought it was the Q Ranger White Ranger costume that they had used in the series, but it wasn't, if I'm not mistaken. So, but you're right. The idea of them switching from one color to the next definitely goes back to Q Ranger for sure. So it'll be fun to kind of see how those changes happen? Do we just jump into Cosmic Fury and boom, we're already there with the updated costumes? Or is there a story to be told for how they get these new powers and change their color setting? So we'll definitely have to see. Nicole Robertson, what's up, Nicole? Um, Hope you're all doing well. What do you think of the Tomb Raider franchise being picked up by Amazon? And what would you like to see or wish when Amazon eventually releases brand new content, either TV show or films? Um, well, one, I'm excited for it. I am kind of intrigued as to what will come first, movie or television series. Is it going to be a theatrical released film? Is this going to be a film that's only going to be directly to streaming services? These are definitely all questions that I have. All questions that I have that I would certainly like answered in time. But I do think it's a good move. I know some people may be wondering, oh, it's Lara Croft. It's just one character. How could you make a big interconnected franchise out of this? I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a story involving her father that needs to be told, right? Maybe there's a young Laura Croft adventure out there that certainly needs to be told. I do think that you can attack this from different time settings, different time periods. Um, Look, you look at The Witcher, right? The Witcher doesn't necessarily just focus on, say, um, Henry Cavill's main character is Geralt. They have an animated film that literally talks about Geralt's his the Witcher and the master that sort of taught him. You know what I mean? They got a whole animated movie about this guy, and Geralt's nowhere to be found. Same thing with The Witcher Blood Origin, right? Takes place hundreds, if not thousands of years before The Witcher. No Henry Cavill in there, but they have managed to at least put in one character from present day in a really cool, unique way of storytelling, but also highlight characters that we've never seen before, right? So I think there's plenty of opportunities here for a season of Tomb Raider to introduce us to new characters or uh, an animated film or a movie that follows Laura's father or whatever the case may be in an early adventure, right? His adventure that led to an adventure that now Laura has to pick up in, say, season 2 of the Tomb Raider television series, right? So there's a lot of potential there. It doesn't necessarily have to be interconnected for just this one character to show up in every little thing that they do, but other cinematic universes have shown you can create that in spin-offs, building up new characters, or having lore be told in such a way that will eventually connect to your overall bigger story, whether that be in the movie or the television series itself. So I think there's a lot of fresh ideas that they can certainly come up with and have fun with when it comes to the Tomb Raider franchise. So I'm not so set on it just being a Lara Croft story, but creating a much bigger world around Lara Croft that I think could do the franchise a lot of wonders. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. The most talented man alive. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. What do you think of the Paranormal Activity movies, and which of them do you think still holds up today, and which ones jumped the shark? So, God, I think I probably watched up to the third or fourth Paranormal Activity. They eventually, let me see. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up here. Paranormal Activity movies. Um, the the first Paranormal Activity to me was still the best. I had a blast watching those movies. Um, when they started doing, I will say, when they started doing the, I finished off in Paranormal Activity 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think they definitely jumped the shark come like Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension. What? Like I haven't even watched any of those. Um, I'm trying to remember if I had watched Paranormal Activity 4 or not. I might have watched Paranormal 4 because I think it was like a little girl and her brother. I just remember I remember like swarms of like a cult following or like a group of people coming into like their house. And I don't remember what happened to the dad, but think the mom wind up turning on them, or maybe the daughter turned on them. I can't remember what it was, but I just remember I barely remember this, but like I remember like a playground. I remember the daughter maybe going out to the playground and finding her brother being all weird in the playground in the middle of the night by himself. I think the kid like kept going over to like somebody else's house or something. I think she eventually followed and something crazy happened. I can't remember if they left and went to like their grandma's house and come to find out this old lady's part of the cult or something like that. And they go outside and it's like a bunch of people out there. It was super creepy. And then they all come into the house and then the camera drops on the floor and then like somebody's head twists or something crazy happens to somebody. And for all I know, I could be mixing up Paranormals 3 and 4 together. To be perfectly honest with you, it's been so long since I've watched these. Oh yeah, and they had another one in 2021. What? Paranormal Activity next to Kinsey? Yeah, nah. I think after Paranormal Activity 4, or maybe at Paranormal Activity 4 is when they really kind of just like I just stopped keeping up after that. But I thought it was pretty good for what it was. Like for me, I was a big fan of, growing up, I was a big fan of like the lost footage type of films, right? Um, like Blair Witch Project was like one of the first scariest movies I remember seeing in theaters growing up. And it had a real impact on me to make me enjoy those type of found footage sort of horror movies. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's definitely something that they went through for years doing those type of movies until it kind of got boring. But I felt like Paranormal Activity is what really sort of brought it back. Just that still camera sort of thing, right? Allowing us to watch these paranormal things happen that didn't have any answers to, seeing them build up a story throughout that also. So it was pretty cool. Like I even really enjoyed how some of their storylines were connected from 2 and 3, how it kind of went through a family lineage almost, and seeing how these people were affected. There was even a new camera angle, I think, in either part 3 or 4 that I thought was actually pretty cool and creepy all at the same time, where the guy set up his camera in like the living room, but he put it on a swivel, like a fan. I think it was like a fan swivel that just goes left and right, back and forth, like a fan certainly does. And so it was really cool, just from a cinematic, like a directing point of view, to kind of have stationary camera, but it moving from one room to the another super slow, so like you could never know what was exactly going to be around the corner or what the camera was going to reveal next. And I think that certainly added to the suspense of things. And then when it would go back to the other side of the room, you're like, oh my God, I know something's there. I know something's there. Like, what's changed? What's happening? Like, it was just a really, I think the direction and the cinematography, I think all of it went really well into upping sort of the creep factor. And I thought the storyline was pretty decent for the most part, in regards to seeing how long this has been within this person's family sort of thing. But after a while, man, yeah, I just completely just jumped the shark for me, honestly. Jackson Peterson, how excited are you for Guess Who's Back with another one? How excited for you for the upcoming Terminator Dark Fate with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton returning, and with the movie ignoring the past modern films like Terminator Genisys did? Do you think this could finally be the best legacy sequel in the franchise since the original? Absolutely. I mean, look, I know James Cameron, while he isn't officially attached to this as sort of a writer, the fact that James Cameron has come back and he's attached himself as an executive producer has kind of given this film a thumbs up speaks volumes to me. I know that I just have this feeling in the inside of my gut that despite how the Terminator franchise has gone, this one is certainly going to be a success. I mean, God, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger come back. I mean, maybe we're tired of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but Linda Hamilton just does not come back for no particular reason whatsoever. The script has got to be great enough for her to certainly come back and show how much of a badass she definitely is. We got ourselves a brand new Terminator in here also. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been that pumped for some of the trailers. Not all the trailers have excited me, with the exception of the last one. The last one certainly has me hyped. I think this is the film, man. I think Terminator Dark Fate is the film. Um, with that said, Jackson, let me just say, I didn't mind Dark Fate. I didn't mind Dark Fate as a film. Definitely could have been better. I can kind of see why James Cameron might have like executive produced this film or put some weight behind it, because it definitely had a different feel about it from the other Terminator films. I just unfortunately don't think that it was enough to fully rejuvenate this Terminator franchise whatsoever. Like at this point, I just think the Terminator franchise has got to be dead. I honestly think, look, I think we got two good things from Terminator after um I think we got two great things out of Terminator after Judgment Day. Some people will probably agree with me with one, others are probably going to laugh at my face. Um Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show, I thought was fantastic. Summer Glau as a Terminator, badass. I thought they did an incredible work with it, and I almost think that Terminator probably works better as a TV show. I almost think it's better than trying to cram the concept of time travel and all this crazy shit that's happened in this franchise into a 2-hour movie. Um, I almost think if you approach Terminator in the sense of a TV show, we might have something there, because I think Sarah Connor Chronicles really showcased something, and it's a shame. And I think it was on Fox, and Fox was known for like just butchering and canceling shows so, in their prime. And I think Sarah Connor Chronicles had at least a good 5-6 seasons in it, at least. There was no reason for this show to be taken off the air, if you ask me personally. Next, I actually am a big fan of Terminator Salvation, with Sam Worthington. Christian Bale is an um, older John Connor. I really enjoyed that movie. I think it was the direction, the cinematography, the grittiness of it. It was pretty cool to kind of follow John Connor during that particular time period that he was certainly in. And I thought the action was pretty good. So I know some people weren't the biggest fans of Salvation. It's one of the reasons why they decided to go ahead and make Genesis and Dark Fate. But if you ask me, Salvation was better than Rise of the Machines, Terminator 3. It was better than Genesis. It was better than Dark Fate, and it was probably better than Sarah Connor Chronicles. So yeah, I would put Salvation up there with one that I certainly enjoyed, because for me it felt like it switched the concept a little bit. Gave us a different starting off point to work with. So yeah, those are my two things outside of Terminator 2 Judgment Day that I was big fans of: Salvation and Sarah Connor Chronicles. Dark Fate just didn't hold up for me, unfortunately. Jessica Fryman, with Titans and DC. Oh, excuse me. Jessica Fryman says, with Titans and Doom Patrol canceled, do you think Superman and Lois could be next? And do you think one of the MMPR? Oh, and do you think one of the MMPR Rangers from the reunion special will make a guest appearance in Cosmic Fury? I'm still under the impression David Yost will be a part of Cosmic Fury in some way or another. Maybe if it's just one episode, maybe David. There's a part of me that keeps my fingers crossed also that Charlie Kirsch as Min will follow suit and come with him in Cosmic Fury. So I do think we'll get two guest appearances, David Yost and Charlie, but I don't know. I think Charlie might have come back to the States while Cosmic Fury was filming. And I think David Yost stayed there just a little bit longer. So I feel confident about David Yost. I'm on the edge with Charlie Kirsch's Min, though. And do I think Superman and Lois will be next? I do, man. I do. Like, it honestly would not surprise me if season 3 is the last. If season 3 is not the last, I think we get one more season from them on the CW, and I think that's it. I think that's it. So yeah, I expect season 3 or 4 to be Superman and Lois's last. Mike Kell, what's up, Mike Kell? Appreciate you coming through with some questions. What are you most excited about for the MMPR reunion special? And do you think that this could really be the final send off for the MMPR team on screen before we get the Hasbro reboot? Hope this won't also be the first and only time we see Trini's daughter. I do think this is the final send off for the MMPR team. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of them wanted to come back, why this is maybe so special for them to reconnect like that. So yeah, I do think this is the end for this team. There's a part of me that kind of hopes that I'm wrong. I was just talking with Jin Saku today, and I'm trying to get some understanding as to what's going on, because he posted a tweet earlier. Let me see if I can find his tweet. He put 3 hours ago, he posted season 1, 2025, the movie, with a sad face. He says that he knows that the show is moving ahead, but not hearing any current plans about the film. So this, let me say this real quick, if that is the case, because this will fit back into your question, Michael. I still think that the reboot is still full steams ahead. But I do think some creative changes have definitely been made to the full steam ahead reboot. Do you need a movie before making a season 1 of a series? No, I don't think you do. You could probably tell your story within that first season if you wanted to. Maybe it's a cost saving thing. Maybe creatively they've decided to go a different route with how they want to go ahead and pull this off. But I am under no means thinking to myself, if the movie doesn't happen, that the Power Ranger reboot is a failure and it's not going to happen overall, because I still think that you can very much reboot Power Rangers and still have a successful season 1 if 2025 is the time period in which they're aiming for, without certainly giving us a movie. I think it's certainly more than possible. Maybe a movie is something in the works that they would rather do at a later point in time, right? Because they have sold us on movie, TV, animated series, and more. So it's not to say, again, we just talked about the Tomb Raider in a connected universe. We just talked about what Witcher is doing, right? Witcher gave us the season 1 and movies afterwards. So a movie is not needed to launch a rebooted Power Rangers season. So if that is true, and there's no current plans for a movie as of right now, where things are changing behind the scenes, but the season 1 of Power Rangers rebooted still seems to be on deck for 2025. Hasbro has come out and said that it is still a very big priority for them to certainly work on. So I have all the faith in the world that they're still working on it. But it would not surprise me, when you've got all this time, 2 years, right, for you to still make creative changes in how you want to go about making this a very successful show or successful reboot. With that said, I am curious if, with the changes, if their mindset has also changed in regards to, are we gonna allow this to be connected to the past Power Ranger universe, right? Have the fans been receiving how we've been making new content so extremely well that now that we see the fan reception to things, maybe this is now changing our game plan a little bit and our execution, and maybe there is room for some level of continuity at the end of the day, right? So do I feel like this is a final send-off for the MMPR team? I absolutely do feel like the reunion special is the last time that we'll see this MMPR team, but I'm never going to say never, though. I think with things changing behind the scenes, I think that also means a changing of mindsets. So could there be further opportunities? Maybe. But I do feel as of right now, this will be the last time that we see them. As far as will it be the last time we see Trini's daughter? I certainly hope not. I hope she has that pivotal of a moment and time in here that hell, maybe Min is the main character going forward in this reboot, right? Like maybe they love Charlie Kirk so much they're like, you know what? Maybe we want to bring you back and make you the main character for our rebooted universe. Who certainly knows? I have no idea, but I hope it's not the last time. Whether that be in Cosmic Fury she pops up, or they give us another holdover season until they're able to get to 2025 Power Rangers. Who certainly knows? But hopefully we'll get some concrete information sooner rather than later. All right, guys. Can somebody give me a Eagles and 49ers score? Has that game wrapped up yet? Has that game wrapped up? Give me a 49ers Eagles score update, please. Next up, we got Kenny Tolentino. What were your thoughts when the first Shazam movie came out, and what are your expectations for the sequel? Could this be considered the reboot James Gunn is doing, or is it safe to be continue? I'm not sure if this and the other DCEU films are ending as well, which people call this Snyderverse. I'm assuming Fury of the Gods to have a direct ending. I'm not expecting it to lead into anything. It wouldn't even surprise me if there was an mid-credit or post-credit scene and they cut it out of this movie. Because I just don't know what the future for Shazam, played by Zachary Levi, holds when we get to the reboot of James Gunn's DCU, right? I don't think everything has to change. Some things might change. I do think The Flash, again, is as pivotal as a movie as you could possibly make it to be, to really lay the groundwork for what is and what isn't possible in this James Gunn world, right? Maybe Zachary Levi continues on as Shazam, and we do get ourselves a third Shazam movie, but maybe in the third Shazam movie, there's also a recognition of the events of the Flash having a big monumental shakeup of the world that we're in, and we find Shazam and Zachary Levi just in a completely different place within the DC overarching story. So I do think there's a possibility for some of these characters to certainly continue on as we've known it, but I definitely do think there certainly will be some big changes that come out of it. But when the first movie came out, I personally was just expecting it to be fun, a fun comedy. I didn't know how bombastic or how big the action pieces were, or like how serious they were going to take themselves. So I just kind of went into the movie, honestly, with low expectations. Because again, at the time, I didn't really care for Zachary Levi as an actor. It really wasn't until he took on the role of Shazam and I started watching and listening to some of his interviews that made me really, really fall in love with the guy. The guy's a really cool dude from what I can tell. So it made me appreciate him a little bit more after watching the first Shazam film. But I thought it did certainly what it needed to do. I thought it handled the Billy Batson character extremely well. Zachary Levi just feels like he was a big kid and made for this particular role. And I thought the family environment and element really worked for me also. I think the Shazam family at the end was a really great surprise. I did not see coming whatsoever. And just helped put the movie over the top even a little bit more for me. So big fan of the first one. And just kind of eager to see the scope and size of what they do with the second one. Like I really don't have any expectations going into this movie either, just because the future feels uncertain. I'm just really going into Shazam to follow characters that I enjoyed and enjoy the first one. So I'm looking forward to it. George, what's up, George? Is it me, or has the Japanese source material for Power Rangers been doing tons and tons of new shows and other spin-offs, while with Power Rangers has been very challenging the film since the COVID pandemic? If the situation did not exist, how do you think Dino Fury would have been like than how it is right now, especially with the small little team up episode with Beast Morphers series we had in Dino Fury season 2? Man, I think Dino Fury probably would have had a lot more cameos in a much bigger crossover event for sure. I definitely do. Um, I think the Japanese have been doing with Super Sentai stuff has been great. Like I have loved all their spin-off stuff. It's something I always wish that Power Rangers would do more of, you know? Um, like their Yodana miniseries that they had, I thought was great. Their um the Real Soldier Masters miniseries that they had, I thought was brilliant. They've done a lot of great stuff despite the pandemic, um, and really allowing a lot of these side characters and other teams to kind of flourish to really make me want to see more of them. And it is something that I wish that Power Rangers would do a little bit more of, but I look at them now on Netflix and I think to myself, like, hey, we're getting an MMPR special. That's a great little spinoff for me, if you ask me. Maybe some connective tissues to Cosmic Fury as a whole. If we are getting ourselves a rebooted Power Rangers season beginning in 2025, no reason to think that we can't get cool little spinoffs like that either, right? But it's one of those things, George, where like, you know, I felt like they could probably even do that now with the Power Ranger franchise that we're seeing. Like, give me I wouldn't mind a little 3-part episode miniseries between why am I blanking on their damn names now? Weisel and Mucus, I would love I would love a little 3-part miniseries of those two running around. It might be kind of comedic in nature, but I think you could have some fun with that. There's a couple other things I would really like to see. Hell, maybe an adventure. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Ninja Steel, but give me a father and son 2-3-parter on YouTube or something, like a little web series. Not asking for much. It doesn't have to be grandiose, but you know, I just felt like Homeboy spent all that time trying to find a father. Father still was absent all of season 2. Like, damn, you that much of a deadbeat dad. You can't even be found. He did all his work to find your ass in season 1. You still can't even hang out with him come season 2. Like, I kind of would like to see Ninja and Ninja, father and son, a little web series. Give me something a little along those lines, right? Like, make Ninja Steel in some way or another enjoyable, attack it differently. I don't know, but I do think the idea of spinoffs is something that Power Rangers should really look into, because I think you can have some fun with that. I don't need full seasons of everything, man. Abase, what's up, Abase? Appreciate you coming through. Since the passing of JDF, we won't be able to see Tommy anymore on screen unless he gets recast in a reboot, which fans will be very upset about. I don't know. I don't think so. I think if it's a reboot, like, I don't think people would get upset, honestly. Like, because looking back at the 2018 Power Ranger movie, we were about to get ourselves a brand new Tommy in the sequel. I don't think people would have been pissed off if it wasn't JDF. You know what I mean? Um, so I do think that, I will say this. I don't think a reboot is going to touch the Tommy name, though. I don't think they would ever reboot the recasting of the MMPR team. I think the MMPR team is just that. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely not gonna be able to see Tommy, live action Tommy, anymore on screen. But they were going to eventually recast the Tommy in the rebooted Power Ranger movie. They just never were able to get the sequel, unfortunately. Do you think his Green Ranger powers should be passed on to someone else, or should the powers be permanently retired? Especially since we saw MMPR Green Ranger in the suit in a 30th anniversary reunion special behind the scenes video during the last week's Hasbro Pulse. As of now, we don't know if JDF secretly did ADR, since we know the anniversary special was filmed 2 months before his passing. I'm not sure if we will get a future version of Tommy's son, JJ, as an adult, as the new Green Ranger, or a random person from the Boone Studio comic books as the Green Ranger taken to live action. Only other choice would have, besides if Tommy does stay alive in the PR TV universe, is Adam Park. According to rumors and speculation, he could use the green power coin during an emergency that took place in the reunion special, since Adam had already been a popular character. Same goes for the original script during Power Rangers Turbo. when Adam was originally going to take over as Red Ranger, when JDF was already thinking of leaving the show during the time that Johnny Bosch had grew out of his hair during the early development of Turbo. So if Adam were to take over, at least use Tommy's Green Ranger power, it would be a nice callback to those early plans. I do love that callback if that were to happen. I don't think that the powers should be permanently retired. No, I don't. I am okay with the idea of the powers being passed on to somebody else. We've seen the powers passed on to other people in Power Rangers before. I think it's almost acceptable if that's the case. If the the powers are certainly moved on. To a random person, that would be that would be odd. Like, I don't think Matt, I don't like when I look at the 30th anniversary behind the scenes footage, I don't think it's Matt underneath there. My two things are, it's either a flashback sequence that they filmed in more modern time, to look better on screen, but a flashback moment, or it's JDF under there in a surprise cameo, or it's somebody else that is connected to JDF or connected to the Tommy character. So either JJ or Adam. So those would be my three options. I feel like those are like the only three options I could possibly think of. So I really can't like handpick one in particular. But if you were to tell me, it's Adam Park, I would be completely cool with that. If it's JJ, I'm completely cool with that too. Matt, I don't know if I'd be cool with Matt, just because if we are, again, why I don't think you should retire the powers, I do think that they should be passed on to somebody that was meaningful to Tommy's life in some way. And so I do think that that would be either JJ or Adam, if the powers were to certainly be picked up by somebody else. But I don't think you need to retire the powers, though. Carter, what's up, Carter? How much time have we got? Let me see. I might do two more questions here. Let's see how long this takes. Carter Matthews, what's up, Carter? If you've seen the new Avatar movie, how did it compare to the first one from more than a decade ago? And do you feel James Cameron is doing too much where he already had the fifth and sixth installment in the pipe? Not sure if this is a dumb comparison, but Haim Saban planned way ahead during the 2017 Power Ranger movie that is unfortunately bombed at the box office, even though Power Ranger fans loved it, while critics and casual moviegoers didn't like it and not interested. Look, I think James Cameron is a brilliant dude. I don't think he's doing too much in already making the fifth and sixth installment, because the one thing that I will say is that James Cameron, this entire time while marketing and promoting Avatar, has always said and has always been very much aware we may not even get to a fifth and sixth. And it really all comes down to what the audiences want, right? I have a feeling that James Cameron was smart enough to understand, listen, while I want to do 6 films, realistically, where can this series end if we were not to get any other ones? And so I do think there's a part of me that James Cameron understands, listen, I can get a number 2 out. I can probably get a number 3 out. Heaven forbid, the fourth one might be my last. So I think there's a part where James Cameron has made it so to where if the fourth one needs to conclude, he can conclude it. But if it needs to go on, he's got ideas and things down the pipeline where he can make the fifth and sixth one and properly close it out the way that he wants to. But I feel like James Cameron's smart enough to know that you may want to make 6 movies, but you ain't the one that dictates it, okay? The box office and the fans dictate it. And while he's already filmed the third one is ready to go. I think he says the fourth one is in the middle of filming, so they still have some work to do on the fourth film. After seeing the box office of Avatar, which is officially crossed $2 billion, I think it is officially internationally, like globally, I think it's like the fourth biggest film of all time already. So James Cameron officially has 3 out of the top 4 highest grossing movies of all time. Domestically, I think it's about to pass $600 million. So this movie has definitely done great internationally, and $600 million domestically is certainly nothing to sneeze at whatsoever. I think that puts him at least within top 10 movies of all time domestically. Um, so no easy feat to do what James Cameron is doing, but despite him having these plans for fifth and sixth, James Cameron has been very open about the idea that he's not blind to the idea that we may not even get to these particular movies. It's really going to come down to the box office, and the box office says we at least want to see the third installment. And so I think he feels pretty good about 3 and 4 dropping. We'll see where we're at in 2 years at the end of 2024, and how Avatar, the third one, does. And I guess we'll have to see from there whether or not he goes on to make more films. But I think he's very much aware of the situation he finds himself in. All right, and then last but not least, last question of the day. And for those of you who I didn't get to, Tilla, Morgan, Gabriel, Jackson, and Carlo, I will be making a film, a side video for you guys, and probably drop it sometime tomorrow. So look out for that. Doomsday Suits, what do you think of who do you think will be the leader in Once and Always? Oh, damn. The leader in Once and Always. God, that's a good one. I gotta think Billy. Either Billy or Zach. I'm gonna say Billy though. I'm gonna say Billy. What do you predict will happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Kang the Conqueror is gonna win. I don't know what winning means for Scott though. I think Scott will put up a great fight. I don't know if Scott's gonna die. Do they need Scott to die? I mean, maybe something happens to Scott and we don't see Homeboy again until one of the Avengers films, and then maybe he comes, maybe they revive him or he comes back to life, sort of thing. I think if it's going to deal with a lot of time travel, I think anything is possible, honestly, but I think Kang wins. I think Kang wins and gets exactly what he wants, and it truly sets up a great Phase 5. Like, there's a part of me that also wonders, like, when we get to the end of Loki series finale and the he who shall be not be named, or whatever his name is again, I can't remember. I refer to him as Immortus. I personally do. But once you see the ramifications of season 1 of Loki, he gives him the ultimatum, and we see what ultimatum Sylvie winds up choosing. And when Loki gets back, we see the gigantic shrine of Kang the Conqueror, the statue, right? You can clearly see things have definitely changed. There is a part of me that wonders, did the change come because of Sylvie's choice, or is there more to it? There's a part of me that wonders if the events of Quantumania, if Kang wins, whatever it is that he is trying to obtain or achieve from himself, I wonder if that's the ramifications of what we see in the Loki series finale, of things changing because of what's happening in Quantumania, because Kang is a master of the timeline, right? And we don't necessarily know where Loki pops up at the end, right? That's clearly not his timeline. Something has clearly changed. So does he pop up back in this timeline after Quantumania? You know what I mean? And things have just been changed drastically because of the events of Quantumania, if that hasn't hurt your brain yet. I'm really looking forward to just a mind trip, honestly. Do you find it crazy how Thanos, aka the big bad of the Infinity Saga, got 3 minutes of an opening scene in Infinity War to show just how menacing he was going to be? Meanwhile, King the Conqueror, the big bad of the multiverse, is getting a whole 2-hour movie in Ant-Man to show just how menacing he's going to be. Yeah, man. Well, to be fair, while Thanos did get the opening 2 minutes of Infinity War to show us just how formidable he was going to be for the remainder of the movie. He still was in the remainder of that movie kicking ass and showing how much of a big bad he certainly was, right? So Kang and him are definitely sort of getting that same opportunity. I almost kind of look at the introduction to Thanos at the end of Avengers and the Avengers movie to the introduction to Kang at the end of Loki's series finale. That tease of what's to come, and like Infinity War, I think Quantum Mania will be um his true breakout, and it may not even be his fullest true breakout. I mean, we've seen this man fighting against Scott Lang in these trailers, right? So we haven't even gotten to the Kang Dynasty Avengers movie yet, guys. So plenty of menacing moments for Kang to certainly have, but it's going to be incredible to certainly say the least. You know what, Datilla, I'll get to this real quick. With WrestleMania going Hollywood this year, do you think they'll induct both Batista and The Rock into the Hall of Fame? If you could only indicate one, who would you induct and why? The Rock's not inducted yet? The Rock's not inducted yet? That's blasphemy to me, bro. If I had to choose, give me The Rock. Give me The Rock. But I wouldn't mind. Yeah, give me The Rock if I had to choose between the two. Maybe next time they come back to Hollywood, maybe we'll give Batista a shot here. Give him his hands on the Walk of Fame somewhere. Who knows? But yeah, if The Rock isn't inducted to the Hall of Fame, I'm surprised. I think that's blasphemous if he hasn't been. So if not, yeah, bring him in. Maybe have the tribal chief maybe do his indoctrination, or come out afterwards and tease a moment between them, would be my suggestion. To tease the next WrestleMania so The Rock can actually get in shape or some shit, whatever they want to say. But yeah, give me The Rock if you're going to induct any of those two at first. But all right, guys. So yeah, anybody else? Morgan, Gabriel, Jack, and Carlo. Just 4 questions, but I'll go ahead and get into those for a live viewer question. I'll probably knock those out pretty easy and drop that for you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Nathan, for the update. Philly whipping that ass as I predicted. All right, guys. But other than that, that's going to certainly do it for us here. Thank you, everybody, for definitely joining me for a solo dolo version of Hero Report. Hopefully next weekend we'll have Stuart back. Maybe if we're lucky, Indy. And if anything, I do want to try and get some guest appearances on here also. I've been trying to reach out to some other YouTubers, podcasters, and see if I can collaborate and bring some fresh faces to the channel for you guys also. So we'll see. I tried to reach out to somebody yesterday. It might have been late notice, but I'm going to try and reach out to some more people also in case of moments like this where it's just me writing solo. But I enjoy being able to have one-on-one conversations with you guys, and always fun to certainly talk about it. Datilla says, are we reviewing Royal Rumble, Adam? I'll hit you up later. I'll let you know, Datilla. I got to probably pick up my son here soon. I do have a project I personally have to work on today for sure. But maybe we can sneak something in, Datilla, but I'll definitely keep you posted. I'll reach out to you later this afternoon. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and check out some football, do what I need to do around the house, enjoy my son and my family. But I definitely will be seeing you guys later on this week. Hopefully provide some great, fresh content for you guys. Maybe we'll get the James Gunn DCU slate that we'll definitely talk about for you guys. Also, a lot of goodness headed your guys' way. But until next weekend, I'm going to try and continue to aim for 12 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. So definitely go ahead and stay tuned. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week. So in the meantime, do me a big favor, guys. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It definitely does go a long way. And do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.